Hey, how's it going? Hope you all having a good week. Apologies for the hiatus, but it was necessary. There were some emergencies going on. Um, let's wait till we get some more people in. Again, I hope you all having a good week. Again, apologies for the hiatus, but had to deal with some emergencies. Um, so let's start it out. Um, we did the they had the Oscars. I think that was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it was weird. I think it was like it was on a Sunday to close out the week. And that Friday, I had gone to see the movie Anora, which had won Best Picture. It was cool. It's kind of like a modern day Romeo and Juliet movie. I kind of walked out of it, and I was kind of like, after seeing it, and I was kind of like, I don't know if it was good, but I don't know if it was gonna win Best Picture. It ended up kind of cleaning up at Best Picture. So I think the highlights, I think, from the Oscar this year's Oscars was Anora won like Best Picture, won Best Supporting Best Leading Actress, I think, um, and then The Brutalist, which I've already seen too, that won Best Actor from I'm forgetting his name, but they won Best Actor, and I think Anora also won. I think Brutalist won Best Cinematography too. I just got to come in hot too. Switching into it, I am. I'm done with Kanye. I'm suspending my campaign. I this pushed my fandom to the brink. I can't do it anymore. I mean, usually with Kanye, I think we get like a day or two of some like wild tweets. We've had a whole fucking week of Kanye tweets, and it's been obnoxious. I think to me this morning, I think I saw him talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce's youngest children, and I was like, what he said about them was absolutely disgusting. And I was like, I did at first I couldn't find the tweet because it was deleted, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wake up. Maybe this. I don't know if he said this, but it was a screenshot, and I was like, I don't know. It might be real. Then I woke up and I saw him actually post something saying something else, doing his typical Kanye doubling, tripling down on what he says about, and he was talking about Jay-Z and Beyonce's children, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm gonna have to suspend my campaign. Like I can't be a fan through this. Because before earlier this week, it was kind of like, hey, he wanted to call it Tyler the Creator, he wanted to call it Kendrick Lamar, he wanted to call it Drake, he wanted to call it all these people, Future. But when he took it to the kids, I'm done. I'm not standing. I'm not standing behind them for this. I'm stepping aside respectfully. Um, Let me see what else. Again, sorry for the hiatus. I think it's been a good 4 weeks. I had like a IT training start today. That's gonna take a lot of my bandwidth. But like there was some like personal emergencies. I think the woman I'm dating, the woman I'm kind of seeing, she's like she had like a personal emergency. I didn't really bring a lot of like emotional intelligence content, but we'll talk about it. Um, the I think the response to her emergency showed a little bit of emotional intelligence. I decided, I'm like, you know what, she's having like a super bad day. Let's drive down to Augusta, and let's just, sometimes people, you just, there's some moments where you just really need to be there. You need to be present. It's not gonna be good enough to just be like, hey, yo, that's what's up. I or checking up with them, a couple weeks later. Sometimes you just need to be there in the moment. So I just drove up on a whim. I don't know. It must have been like a Wednesday or Thursday, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, and just stayed down there for like 2 or 3 days, like 2 days, maybe like 2 nights, maybe like 3 days or something like that. But I was proud of myself for that, because I'm like, the old me would, maybe need my own time to kind of like decompress and um, um, maybe just assume people are good and they're straight, they're okay. But like I said, I was glad I made that trip down to Augusta. And I think it showed sometimes, emotional intelligence, it's an array of different, I guess, emotions and responses. But I think in this case, like I said, I was just kind of like proud of myself that like showing up for someone to be emotional support when it wasn't asked, when it was kind of uncomfortable of like, hey, does this person want this kind of support? But I showed up. So I was proud of myself for that. Let me see what else. But I've been watching. I think one of the fun things that her and I've been doing lately was I showed her like this Anton Daniels clip. I'll probably show it. Maybe I'll show it right after this or not or something. But we've been watching like Pop the Balloon, and we will watch it. I never really watched that show. I've only seen it when it goes on viral, when it goes on viral clips. I never really watched an episode until like maybe a week ago. It's good. It's a nice little show, but and but I've always stressed to her, yo, I want to see the 30 and the 40-year-olds. I don't want to see the fucking 20-year-olds. Because I want to see the people who kind of resemble myself. I want to see the kind of choices they make. But nonetheless, I was showing her this Anton Daniels clip, and she only got like a minute or two into it, and she was like, hit pause real quick. And she was like, this is all fear-based. And she was saying exactly how the banner shows. Let me take this fair use off. This is fucking annoying. She was like, this stuff is fear-based. And I completely agree. I mean, the way she kind of put it, I'm going to try to paraphrase, but she was just like, this shit is fear-based. And she was basically saying like, love can't grow from this. And she's kind of expressing how more important it is to, lean on a perspective of love versus fear. I've tried to explain that on like all these podcasts, like a lot of these podcasts for the most part. It's just like the way I live my life, I'm not going to live it in fear. Does that mean I'm not fearful if I don't take any caution? No, I'm not saying that. But things I really want to do, things I love to do, things that I want to achieve, I know I can't win with an overwhelming amount of fear. I'll just, come into a little segue. I had this pool tournament that I thought I was going to be eligible for. I found out that I actually no-showed last year for the tournament that I was actually eligible for. And the pool administrators were saying, yo, I was telling them like, oh, I was supposed to actually play in the skill level 4s. I thought I was going to be playing in versus 2s and 3s. And I was like, hey, you know what? Who cares if I no-showed for that tournament? I wasn't going to beat those 4s anyway, because I was just a new 4. I really have a lot of room to grow in. And you might, in the 4s, a tournament against 4s, you might have some lifetime 4s. You might have some people who went down from a 5 to a 4. And I was like, there's no way I was going to win that fucking tournament. And she was like, there's no way you're going to, she's like, stop thinking like that. There's no way you're never going to win with a mentality like that. I only half agree. I think that the difference would be if I said there will never be a chance for me to ever win against 4s, no matter what I do. I agree with what she was saying, but I'm just saying I'm just not ready right now. One day, sure, I'll probably be able to win a tournament against 4s, but I'm not ready right now. But to that woman's point, that's kind of how I see the manosphere. Is like it's completely negative. Like watching these Pop the Balloon videos, I'm like, why don't they ever highlight the fact that why are they only highlighting when dudes or people get humiliated or they get all their balloons popped or all 5 balloons pop like in a row and shit? And it's like these dudes, they're like malcontents. They're literally malcontents. They're black emo people. They only can see things through the lens of humiliation. As I said on previous podcast, Schadenfreude, humiliation, fear, hate, and negativity. They can't process positivity. I think I don't know if I've made a banner for it, but I was like, I had this realization like from watching the Pop the Balloon. I mean, I'm addicted. I might want to watch it tonight. That the manosphere comes from a standpoint of man, this person's whole romantic life is on the line based on this lineup of 8 fucking people. Who cares if they popped 8 fucking balloons or 10 balloons? Who cares? It's that is such a small, small scale type of thinking. Like there's thousands of people, tens of thousands, over 50,000 of people maybe in these metropolitan areas that people actually live in. And they're trying to fixate on, hey, look, there was a lineup of like 10 women and they all popped the balloon because they didn't find him attractive. They have a right to not be attracted to that person, first and foremost. And they try to like use that as an example and say, look, this is how all modern women are. So what? That's not true, first and foremost. And so what? There are people that are going to love them some of you. I've tried to say that on these podcasts, but like I said, these manosphere, these red pill, these alt-right people, they only want to spread negativity. And and it's sad. It's, like the person who I'm kind of seeing right now, like, love's not going to grow from that. Blessings aren't going to come from that. And I think that's a little tagline that I'm going to kind of take from the Lapeef Network is like, blessings don't come from that type of mentality. You can't have 100% pessimist. I'm actually, I'll admit this. I'm kind of a pessimist. I mean, I am kind of a pessimistic type of person. I do like to think about worst case scenarios. I do like to think about the best case scenarios. I do like to think about the positive and negative, kind of have a little bit of a balance. But it can't be all the way negative. It can't be that, because now if you're all the way negative, now you're fucking pissing people off unknowingly. You're probably walking around with a resting bitch face, as they say. Your energy is off, and you're not holding yourself accountable for that. So like I said, these dudes, there's a lot of different takes. The woman who I'm kind of dating now, she said, the manosphere is fear based. She kind of like, could only take about 2 minutes of it, and she was like, my algorithm is filled with plants and music, and I forget all the shit she was saying, but it was a bunch of positive shit. Now it was none of. She was like, I don't get this in my algorithm, and I'm like, I love this for you, that you don't have to hear this shit. And she was just blown away that people are making content like this. I think she just kept asking me like, why are people making content like this? And just kind of like, we had a great little conversation, and she was talking about how, white supremacy is, it exists in many different forms that maybe we understand, forms that we don't understand. And that's one of the saddest parts about it, is like the manosphere, they're spreading a lot of like white supremacist ideas. They may or may not know it. But it's to kind of divide us as a race, further divide us as a race. And like I said, like to take stuff like the pop the balloon challenge. Let's just fixate on that for 1 second. Angry men are watching the pop the balloon challenge. I mean, pop the balloon show. That's weird in itself. I mean, but they're fishing for negative content. That is weird. So these are like these are a really weird bunch of people, like extremely weird. I don't think I made a banner for it, but I want to segue into it. Let me just maybe go to a different banner. So like I was listening to like a Lapeef Network channel video, and one of these guys came up with one of these stupid ass sayings that you'll hear in the manosphere. Only 16 men could populate the world. That's just do a Google for yourself. I'm not gonna do it here, but they were like, it was saying basically that's not possible. There'll be a lot of inbreeding. It's not true. It's not really feasible. But the manosphere pumps themselves full of these bullshit ass ideas of men built the world and the world's gonna shut down if men don't work for one day, and men are just designed this, men are designed that, and men were not born with value. It's just horseshit. Segueing into another banner, and it needs to be said, like the manosphere, point blank period. I might not be including DDS in this. Still trying to get to know that person, but the manosphere has never had a debate in good. They've never entered a debate in good faith. It's always been debate bros. It's always been, let me try to piss on someone's lemonade. It's always been let's try to flip the statistics. Let's try to distort the reality. Let's try to lower people's self-esteem. I've said maybe from the very beginning of like being on Zed's panels, like, yo, you should be ashamed of yourself as a black man over 30 saying you can't date in the States. That's embarrassing. I mean, that's embarrassing. And listen, not every single person you date is going to go a certain type of way. You know, some things are, dating is hard, and you have to be able to absorb losses. Me as a gambler, I don't know if I've ever really gone too hard into that story. Maybe one day. I've maybe mentioned it once, but me as a person who's, had a past as a gambler, me who loves to kind of gamble, I understand that like wins and losses are a part of life. And they're gonna hurt. But it's not over. You can still kind of lift your head up, move forward, and say it wasn't meant for you, and be okay with that. I think that's one of the things that I see that's wrong with the manosphere is like there's like strong entitlement to women's bodies, a strong entitlement to sex, a strong entitlement to I should be picked, I should have been chose, and they need to get rid of that. And I'm not saying that a lot of that is from society, older men that have taught men to feel entitled. A woman should know if she wants to sleep with you within the first time she looks at you. is feeding that entitlement, telling men that, hey, if you go on a date, she already knows if she wants to fuck you or not. She doesn't need anything else. She doesn't have to get any more data. She doesn't need to spend time with you. She doesn't need to hear anything about you. She should already know if she wants to fuck you or not. So it's already building that entitlement of like, nah, like she's holding something back. She's keeping something from me that I deserve. She should either know she should know she wants to sleep with me and she should be doing it, or she should give me the honesty and leave me. And it's dating is like so much more complicated than that. But like these manosphere dudes, they don't want to look beyond that. I think we're getting past some current events. For the people who joined late, breaking news. Hold up. I magnified something too big. I'm gonna just say it for the people in the back. I am done for the time being with Kanye. I'm done. For the first time in my fandom, I'm going to just say this again for the people in the back. I'm done. What he said today about Kanye and Jay-Z and Beyonce's, youngest children. I'm done. I can't condone you attacking children. I can't do that. I can't. I gotta suspend my campaign. I'm gonna come out like Hillary and Kamala. I gotta suspend my campaign. I'm sorry. I'm no longer a fan at this point. No, I'm not taking my shoes to Goodwill. No, I'm not taking my vinyls and breaking them over my knee. I'm not doing that. But I'm no longer considering myself a fan. I hate to have to go back to that, but I know some people joined late. Let me see what else. From watching the Pop the Balloon videos, me and the woman I've been dating, she made this great observation, and she's like, I don't think, and she's not the first woman who said this. She was like, I think I've even heard Femi say this to a degree about modern men they're really not attracted to women. They want to have sex with them, but they don't really like women. And you would see that from like dudes who wait to the very, very, very last second when they get pulled up into the back. And then they're the last balloon, and then they pop and say, nah, I just got to pop because I wasn't really attracted to you, when they could have done that the whole fucking time. One of the first videos I started watching, you'll hear these responses from mostly men who say, no, I don't go to church, but I have a relationship with God. I'm spiritual. I'm this and that. And it's like code for like, nah, like they don't really, I'm trying to figure out how to say this best, but it's like, what I noticed was like, they were letting go of women who had requirements of like, I want a guy who's God-fearing. I want a guy who goes to church. They were popping and shit. And I'm like, I'm starting to notice something. I'm like, these guys don't want a God-fearing woman. They really don't. I think they want the benefits of the God-fearing woman. They want a woman who's going to be like really, who's going to have a lot of patience, who may, hey, sue me for this. But I guess the running stereotype is like, she cooks, she's a traditional woman, she's this, she's that, she's she's conservatively dressed. Da, 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 da. They want that, but they don't want to go to church. They don't want the woman to go to church. They don't want the woman to kind of hold those kind of expectations of him that, you know, a woman that maybe goes to church or their religion would hold them to. Just an observation. But let me see what else. I think one of the things I want to kind of bring to like future videos is like, yo, I want to really show what did the feminist movement really achieve? What did they fight for? Versus we see on display what the manosphere was fighting for. So I had like a little funny jokey joke, and I was like, yo, like I said, I need to go do my research, but I'm like, did the feminist movement have people influencers like Andrew Tate? Did they have pickup artists? Did they have comedians? Did they have memes? Did they have, I know they didn't have the internet, but I'm just saying, did they have fucking, you know, memes in their magazines and jet magazines bashing men all day? Did they have convos about high value women? Were they talking about body counts? Did they do ridiculous shit like this? Because like the manosphere is trying to like brand themselves as, you know, women back in the day, yo, they had Oprah, they had like the feminist movement, and that ruined society. So, you know, we want to have a voice. We finally get to talk. And I'm not, listen, men deserve to talk, but the kind of conversation that they're having is bullshit. But again, I want to start doing some more research and kind of like, you know, because the manosphere will try to attribute certain things like, you know, the reason why we got like the way the women are filing for divorce is it's all because of feminism. And it's like, no, the women didn't like those marriages back then. That's one thing. That's a main thing. But they're blaming everything on feminism. They're blaming the fact that boys are struggling in school on feminism. They're blaming, you know, they can't get a date. These women have high standards. These women don't want to. These women have high body counts because of feminism. Listen, let's do some research and come back to that. I kind of talked about this a little earlier. How the manosphere men, they're really kind of like drama kings, and they thrive off negativity. And to kind of quote this woman, Shan Mona from the Lapeef Network, that's not where blessings come from. And I think that's a recurring thing that I'm stealing that statement. People who are just completely negative, I'm just gonna be hitting them with, that's not where blessings come from. Give me 1 second. There was something else I wanted to kind of show. I want to segue, a little hard segue. I want to say congrats to my brother, younger brother, that he's about to get engaged. He bought the ring. He's gonna be moving to California. You know, teardrop for that. He's gonna be leaving St. Louis, so it's gonna be I'm probably gonna be seeing him less. It's gonna, but you know that it happens. You know, he's on the path to getting married. He's been dating this woman. I haven't seen her yet, but he's probably been dating her for like at least a year and a half or so. They're both doctors, and I've been saying on these podcasts, like, I knew it was serious when there was conversations of him moving to California before a ring was even bought. I knew it was serious when they're doing vacations 2 or 3 times in a year. I knew it was serious when they bought matching fucking cars. I knew, and I know that's superficial and shit, but I'm just saying, I knew it was serious. I was like, this is different. This is different. Other people in the past, he's had girlfriend for a long time girlfriend before her, and you know, they just couldn't agree on moving to St. Louis or moving to Chicago, and that just kind of crumbled amongst other things. But like this one, you know, I'm happy for him. It's been a lot of learning experience, and I've got to see it, and I'm glad that he's been patient, and the right person came to him. I just can't wait to meet his girlfriend, soon to be fiance. So I'm happy for him. But they ordered the ring. Apparently she knows. So I think that was kind of my style too. I have to tell that story one day. I need to like remember it, but I want to move off of that. Let me see. Just like a little hot take. These red pillars are statistical hoteps. Like, they don't really have an opinion. Every opinion they have, it's regurgitated from someone else. Every opinion they have is backed by some bullshit stat of something that's like either been debunked, something that is like they're making a mountain out of an anthill. They only want to use the negative statistics that probably men caused, and they want to blame it on women. It's bullshit. But I've said on like multiple panels, multiple podcasts, like that's not how men ever live. Traditional men ever live their lives. That's not how men are supposed to live their life. Um, Statistics are only going to take you so far. It's a snapshot for one. But these dudes, and my red pillar best friend is like this. We're gonna segue into him too. Um, they want to use they want to live and die by statistics. They feel like that approximates outcomes. Like I don't know, like name your favorite movie that like used statistics. You could think of like Captain America, the Winter Soldier, where Hydra, Shield was using stats to try to. Hydra was trying to eliminate people based on statistics. Sorry for being a Marvel nerd. I'm gonna segue because I'm getting off topic as fuck. Red Pillar, he's living the high life right now. I should have made a banner, but he's gone OE. He's officially, next Monday he will have stood up 2 full-time jobs. He wanted to let me know about like 2 or 3, well, maybe like 3 weeks ago. He's like, he's getting full paper. He's racking in some money. I'm really proud of him. He's proven that we'll see how long it works. I'm happy for him that he even got it stood up for the first time. That's awesome. But hopefully it works for him. Let me see what else. So there's a lot of like Manosphere posts, and I really don't know if I see like an end to the tunnel for this shit. It really has to come from within. Like these men have to kind of grow up and be men. And it sucks because like they don't have good examples. They themselves are not good examples, regardless of whether they're married now. Let's just be clear about that. Some men who are married, I know because I've been married. These dudes aren't going to be able to sell me wolf tickets. They're not going to be able to pull the wool over my eyes. Some of these dudes are just douchebags who are married. Don't let a fact that a guy has a ring, make you feel like you're less than, whether you're a man or a woman. Sometimes they're just in bad marriages, miserable, and they're just douchebags who got married. It's not hard for a guy to get married. Let's just be clear about that. But like I said, like if the Manosphere proper was about their shit, they would be the white people, the Asians, the Indians, whatever. They would all be holding each other, the black people in the Black Manosphere, they would all be holding each other accountable. They're not doing that. So the whole shit is Boulder Dash. It's bullshit. They're not holding anything accountable, and it's got me thinking over the last few weeks. I'm like, men get to like cling by this mentality of like men are protectors, men are providers. Stop taking account. Stop taking credit for stuff that other men have done. Not all men are providers, and I don't really know what men are protecting. They're not protecting shit. So it's like it would be really interesting to see if the Manosphere proper. I know they kind of like almost kicked the black men out of they kind of ran let's not say kick. They ran the black men out of the Manosphere proper because they actually somewhat held them accountable. And the black men didn't like that, so they ran and created their own Black Manosphere, their own little man cave that they could kind of like their own little He-Man women haters club for them to hate on women all day and all night. But that's one thing that's like super missing from the Manosphere is they're not holding each other accountable at all. They're kind of allergic to it. They want to ignore the fact that black men are creating fatherless homes. They want to kind of dump that all on the woman. They want to ignore the fact that men are leaving their families. But when it comes to marriage and the fact that women are leaving, they want to shout that to the mountaintops. They're really passionate about that. That's a travesty that they're doing it. They shouldn't be allowed to leave. They should face consequences for doing so. But they don't hold the same energy for the men who are leaving their children, the men who are leaving their families. They're not holding them accountable at all. So I think that kind of segues into this point. Like, Rick Ross coined the phrase like You weren't shooting with them in the gym. And I've said that on like multiple podcasts. Like, I think it's like super weird that like, yo, you've never been married, you don't want children, you don't want to be married, but you're passionate about divorce court laws. I've been married, I've been divorced. I'm not passionate about that, about divorce court. Um, it's as my good friend Eugene would say, it's head trash. Like, I don't like filling my head with stuff that's like not gonna push me forward. So it's like these dudes who are so like, I've been watching these like Lapeef Network um and Anton Daniel videos lately, and I'm like, I'm starting to notice that like these these Mansphere dudes, they have it's all up front. They want to talk about hair, weave, and nails, like Femi would say, but the underlying issue is they want divorce laws to change, marriage laws to change, child support laws to change, and I'm like, why? That is such lowbrow conversation. Why are you worried about the fact that Pookie's going to jail for not paying his child support? Why the fuck are you worried about how he's in arrears because he hasn't paid his child support? Why do you care? That's not your life. It never will be. Why do you care? I'm just be honest with this. I don't have the energy or the time to be solving everybody's problems. We all have our own individual lives to live. Like, I think that these dumbass Mansford dudes, like, they want to try to like solve the problems of everybody, which is impossible because everybody has different little situations and needs and things they need and things they don't need. Things are People are, often different people. So you can't solve it all together. I mean, one of them, there's one problem, there's one thing that you could do to solve it. If men had sexual discipline, that could really help. It's not going to solve all the problems in the world, but it's going to really help. But I think they know in their hearts that that's never going to happen. But again, it's super weird. Like I've said on previous podcasts, it's super goofy. It's super weird for you to be passionate about men who you never were, men who you never seen, men who you've never hung around, men who you've never been in their shoes. You've never been those men for a day in your life, but you're passionate about the shit they go through. It's weird. Um, um, Leave that for those men. So it's like what you get. I think the thing I'll close with it is, whether it was me and the married woman or me and my ex-wife, my red pillar best friend, Masphere, they love to look at situations that don't work out and say, this is why you don't date a boss babe. This is why you don't date someone this. This is why you don't date someone that. And it's like they'll use one example, aka the pop the balloon shit. They'll use one example, one dude who dressed up looking bummy as fuck or looking like he sings country music, and they'll be like, man, why did they drop this dude? He was a great dude. He had a good job. He didn't say anything negative. He didn't curse. He didn't do nothing. But it's just like, yo, you guys are not these dudes. I'm going off tangent, but let me finish it with this. I lost my point. On a lot of these podcasts, you'll see dudes talk about, yo, these women passed up a dude in their 20s who was wanting to marry them, and they just went over to the jocks and the Chads and the Tyrones and all this shit. And I remember asking the 52-year-old Jewish movie producer when we went to go see a movie. Forget what was. I think we saw Brutalist. What the fuck did we see? Shit, that's gonna bug me. I'm gonna say it when I remember it. But we went to go see a movie, and it was a Black Bag with Michael Fassbender. I remembered it, and Cate Blanchett. Go see that. I saw it twice, 2 days in a row. And I told her about like, hey, how the Manosphere is telling women, chastising women because they said you're passing up a great guy in your 20s, and he wanted to marry you, and now you want to try to get him when you're 30 and you're 40. And her response was like, why would we want to get with people who are awkward and didn't know how to fuck? And I was like, listen, I'm with you on that. Let's put some respect on like nerds. There's a lot of nerds who can probably fuck. So it's kind of like stereotypical for her to say that, but I get it. I get what she meant by that. She was like, I want to go to the people who know how to fuck. I was saying something similar like a podcast or two back. I'm like, I don't get why these dudes want to get with low body count women. A lot of which are probably stiff. I mean, they're probably not good in bed. Why the hell would you want to do that? So, and it's not to say that you don't want a great woman too. You definitely want a great woman. That's the most important piece. But again, I'm getting like off topic as fuck, very tangential as fuck. Um, it's a little bit of a joke. It's kind of maybe gone a little stale. Um, didn't do enough pre-production for this one, but it's like all men have failed generations upon generations upon generations ago. Um, they want to act like there's something weird about this generation. No, there's not. It's just that the internet has become middle-aged. The audience for the internet has become middle-aged. We've grown. Me, I'm 42, 43 this year. I remember when the internet was like AOL discs, and um, and you had limited internet. I think they even charged it by the minute and some shit. Now it's like you have unlimited, damn near unlimited for everybody or whatever the fuck. But I'm just saying, the internet has been a very negative place at that, from that point. And humanity and society has been a negative place for who knows how long. It's probably always been negative. So there's nothing wrong with this generation. It's just that we have internet as a vehicle, and we have to display this, and it's going unchecked. We don't have protections for people for online bullying. We don't have protections from online racism and sexism in online and offline. But bigger than that, we have men that want to be disingenuous about why men are acting the way they are. And it's not because they were raised by single moms. Let's be clear about that. Some of these single moms were probably lover girls. So they're probably teaching their sons, hey, be chivalrous. Hey, be a gentleman. Hey, be this. Y'all acting like all these single moms are better and just tell them to go fuck over all the women they meet. That's not happening. Let's be clear about that. My theory is it is the community of young, adolescent, and older and elderly / geriatric men influencing them that, no, you got to go sow your wild oats. No, you got to run up your body count. I heard, listen, let me go into a tangent, and then we're going to actually talk about the fucking banner. We're going to do it typical Chris style. I got into it a little bit on on a light note, not mean, not argumentative, but just I got a little triggered in the Lapeef back chat, where this dude was like, he was justifying men's body count, saying, well, women want us to be good in bed, and how are we going to get good in bed? We got to sleep with other women. And I'm like, no. I wish I could pull it up right now. I wish I could pull it up. I have to do too much scrolling. But I was like, I came to the realization. I'm like, no, dudes do not have to get high body counts. Because let's just be clear about this. The woman who I'm dating right now, she's like, every woman's body is different. Every woman's spot, use your imagination, is different. Rhythm is different. Every woman's body and what it needs to be pleased or satisfied, ecstasy and all that is different. So this notion of, man, I gotta fuck every woman so I can be prepared to fuck every woman, it's bullshit. Because you're not gonna be able to sleep with every single woman. Every woman's body is different, and I think one of the responses I said was like, yo, at our grown age, 35, 45 plus, if a woman is literally going to throw you away, and listen, I'm not saying that they don't exist. To say that the average woman is going to throw a good man away because he needs some extra time to like learn her body, and it's a process. It's some bullshit. There are some women that maybe, yes, they're going to be like, no, the first time, if it ain't this, if there's no sexual chemistry, they're going to let you go. I get it. But to say that all of them are like that is bullshit. And it is just justifying. If you guys want to run up your body counts, just say that. But let's stop with this evolutionary psychology. Let's stop with this misogyny. Let's stop with these urban legends of, well, a woman expect us. We got to be good in bed. We got to like smash them through the mattress. We got to like knock them through the box. Stop it. Just admit that like you want to have experiences, and we got to like break down those stigmas of like, yo, if you want to be promiscuous as a man or a woman, that's your decision. We got to stop shaming people for that. Let me go to the comments real quick, and I'm going to go to this this post. Oh, good to see you again. They want to make us look bad because many of them are not attracted to women. They're using misogynist as yeah, and it's like I want men to a lot of these men, they don't want the they want to break themselves free of these shackles. They don't want to have the 50-50 dates is just them saying, I don't want to have to be the provider anymore. Because you'll hear people like Anton say, yo, but women got all these safety nets to go to. If they want to be able to give their child up, they can give a child up. They got shelters for women. They got this for women. They got this for that women. Do you want women to open doors for you? Is that what you want? No judgment. If that's what y'all want, just say that and fight for that. Maybe there's a woman out there that's going to allow you to do that. I want to open up doors. I choose to do. That's something I take pride in. But if another guy doesn't want to do that, that's his business. But I'm just saying, to answer the NTJ's point, and Angie's echoing the woman who I'm dating's point too. We were watching Pop the Balloon, and she was like, she has this theory that men are not really attracted to women, and we were just kikiing over the fact that like, yo, a lot of these dudes just want Saucy Santana. Because look, he's got all the goods. He's got some boobs. He's got ass. He got thighs. He's throwing ass in a circle. He's giving you he puts on wigs. He's thick. Pause. But I'm just saying, a lot of these dudes secretly might want a Saucy Santana. No judgment. They just need to come out and say that. But and I got some like content I might show about that. How about how I might have to retire the phrase pause? I only say it for jokes. Let's be clear about that. I don't say it to demean people from LGBTQ. I'm just saying for jokes. I am like very silly in real life. The woman who's dating me right now, she knows that. Okay. Yeah, let's see this. The 50-50 is coming from men is because their boyfriends won't compromise. Okay. And they're getting their ass kicked in this economy. Just say that. Like, if they came at it from a standpoint of, yo, it's not financially feasible. I can't afford to do this. I just need someone to kind of meet me halfway or meet me a little bit more than halfway. Okay. But you didn't have to talk about weave, wigs, and nails. You didn't have to talk about high body counts. That's they should have come to this with more of an educational standpoint of like, yo, it's just I can't afford to take you to Roof Chris. I can't afford to take you to $100 date. Say that. Don't demean the women who want to go on a date that costs $100. Just I try to stress like people do what you can afford to do. But yeah, they want Saucy Santana. And there's no judgment. If they want Saucy Santana, just say that. Like, I think we need to one of the videos I'm going to show again, how I said I want to like retire the pause. Man, it's fucking people up who really just want to use it for jokes. Like I said, when I'm saying pause, it's not like I feel like, oh my gosh, I'm endangering my own manhood. I'm coming off less than a man. I'm just doing it for jokey jokes. That's all it is. Let me see. But yeah, good to see you, Angie and TJ. Love the content you've been putting out. Let me go back to this. But yeah, like what I mean by this banner is like all the men who, let's be clear about this. The patriarchal structure is never going away. It's never going away. We've talked about, Richard has maybe mentioned on some of these people who are anti-divestors think that, oh my God, divesting is a threat because one day, these black women will never date black men. That's never going away. Let's be clear about that. Will it change? Will there be a chunk be taken out and maybe further chunks? Sure. But what I meant by this is like, there's a lot of men who are just scared to opt. They don't understand who they don't have a personality outside of misogyny. They don't got a personality if they had to shave their beard. They don't have a personality if they didn't go to the gym. They didn't have a personality if they didn't come off like they want to be a sole provider. They didn't have a personality if they didn't shame women for body counts. They didn't have a personality if they didn't bully men and other women into what they biologically and socially were programmed to do. Those people, if y'all ever watched the movie It, the second one was kind of a crash out, but um all the people in Derry, Indiana, they knew Pennywise existed, but they ignored him to save their own ass. And they led the children to slaughter versus, and that's why I'm trying to like make the parallel to say like the Master Men, the people like Ronan Fearless, the people like Kevin Samuels, the people like Coach Greg Adams, they are no better than the residents of Derry, Indiana. They're leading these young men to slaughter. They're stealing their joy. They're ruining their lives. They're poisoning the dating pool that really has passed them by. Ronan and Fearless and Kevin Samuels are irrelevant to dating. They have aged out because they don't want to date the women their age. They're having to go to other countries to do it. They're irrelevant. They're not young, but they want to hang around the young men. They want to act like the young men. Like one of the saddest pieces about like the Manosphere is like you would expect this crap from 20-year-old men, from teenage men, not from 40 and 50 and 30-year-old men, not from 60-year-old, damn near 60-year-old men. But that's where we're seeing it from. And it's like, let me go to the comments. Oh. So I said congrats to my brother on about to be getting engaged, but that's for the people who just joined later. He ordered the ring, he's about to get engaged. I got to start working on a speech to roast him at the wedding. I think I'm gonna go light on him. But I gotta be prepared to go to a wedding. Please, I hope my brother does not fucking do a destination wedding. Please don't do that shit. Let's see. Okay, yeah. Let's see. I think another thing that's kind of weird is like this infatuation, whether it's giving money to OnlyFans. If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But at some point, you got to admit you got an addiction. Why are y'all infatuated with women who do not even like know you exist, who would not give you the time of day, who would not give you a date? Like y'all need to decenter those women respectfully and start to center the women who actually find you attractive. And I think that's what's really fucking up the manosphere is like these dudes are fixated on 20-year-olds. Those 20-year-olds want nothing to do with them. They're going to get they're going to get run roughshod over by those said 20-year-old women. They're going to I've said on many panels, like these dudes, all the advice they're giving is really to 20-year-old women. That I want to say that they shit on these single moms, but let's be clear about that. Go find you a 35, 40-year-old single mom and see what her life, the average of, and like I said, they're not looking at it holistically. There are women who are boss babes. There are women who got their life together. There are women who are really carrying it on their own very well, but they want to kind of like throw all this slander and hit all the women at once. They're really just talking about the 20 or the crash outs, but they want to but they don't want to call it out. Like I said, like if the Manosphere was really honest, they would just say, hey, we only want to date 20-year-old women. Not because we want to, not for fertility's sake, not for beauty's sake. It's just a flex. But with me trying to get back on topic, these dudes, specifically like the Manosphere Red Pill dudes, Passport Bros, including, especially, they need to learn how to decenter a lot of these women. I'm sorry to call you out, Floyd. I know you haven't joined the panel in a minute, but I get it. You got 500 numbers. You love women. I get the appeal. I get that feeling. Being surrounded by attractive women, it's intoxicating. I felt that going on many dates, several dates at a time. But like you got to at some point, 500, that's excessive. You need to decenter your attraction to some of these women who probably aren't giving you a time of day. But we love you, Floyd, Flint. Sorry. So let me see. Let me see. What else have I not said? I've kind of spoken on this about again, but I'll just kind of reiterate the point. one of the problems with the manosphere is like these dudes are giving advice, speaking through vicariously through the guys who they never were. We saw one with Fearless. Fearless will speak about, yo, if I could do it all over again, I would be celibate. Stop it. Just you don't listen. Stop. And if you could do things over again, I don't think so. It's good to. I think one of the problems with that is like these guys will hold those opinions of, hey, if I could do it all over again, I would be celibate. But they don't bow down and to the opinions of the people who are actually closer to that, who the guys who actually did that. So they don't really know what sacrifices will be required to be able to accomplish that. And I'm guaranteeing you they wouldn't go through with it. But the bottom line is like when the guys say like, yo, all these women had a hot girl summer and they should have there were plenty of guys that would have married them. Attraction be damned, they just should have got married when they had those opportunities. Let's be clear about that. The average black man doesn't get married to like 31 years of age. So these guys have this fantasy that like women should have and could have gotten married at 20. No, they couldn't. I forgot to make the banner of it. I think I deleted it. I want all those dudes who said that to give me 5 tangible examples of men and women, black women and men that got married in their 20s. And I know they don't got that. I'm a guy who got married in the 20s. I don't got 5 of them for you. So that I'm telling you, that shit does not happen. And like I said, they're speaking on behalf of men who they never were. When they say like, oh, there were men that would have married you in your 20s, my hand is up. I did that shit. Those dudes were not me. So they don't have the right to speak on that kind of stuff. Like I've said a long time ago last year, there was a guy that a lot of these manosphere dudes will start talking about divorce court and marriage and child support, but they don't want to they don't have kids, they don't want to have kids, they don't want to get married. And I'm like, we've got to really get to a place where it's like the adults table and the kids table. You guys who have never been married don't have the right to speak about marriage. You guys, even if you guys know a guy who got divorced, even if he did have to give up a lot of stuff, and we're going to talk about this with the Iman Shumpert. I'm going to go off on that tangent. Start showing some content. These guys want to use examples and say, this is what happens to all men. They're all going to get taken to the cleaners. They marry a boss babe. A woman left them. They're all going to leave. They're all going to get tired of you. They're going to just leave for some frivolous reason. They didn't have any reason to leave. They just decided it was a Tuesday and fuck it. They saw a bad tweet from Kanye and they just decided to fall for divorce. Oh, they woke up and it was Tuesday. They saw Iman Shumpert's wife file for divorce and they decided to do it too. And that's not how it works. That's not how any of this shit works. But like I said, like these guys who want to speak on these men that would have married them in their 20s. Let me tell you about men like, oh, this is gonna be embarrassing. This is gonna be embarrassing. But I'm gonna say it. The men that you're talking about, let's just speak about myself. Those men were hard to find. Like me, I'm not the most social person. I'm becoming more social. I'm from St. Louis, but when people say like, yo, do you know anybody? You went to Morehouse. Do you know this person? Do you know this person? You know that person? No, I don't. I wasn't very social in college. Oh, you're from St. Louis, so you must know this person. You must know this person. You must know that person. No, I don't. They don't know me either. To spot me as a jokey joke, it would be literally like finding a Pokemon in real life, like a unicorn in real life. Like, no, I saw him. It would be like finding a black man in Carson City, Nevada. You might go months without seeing one. But I'm just saying, like for me, the men that they're speaking about, these unicorn men that would have married them in their 20s. Let's be clear about that. Some of them were locked down in engineering programs or some other type of program, just heading the books. They weren't really interested in women in that time frame of their life. They were just focused on school, or they were doing ROTC, or they were doing Army stuff, or they weren't really that social. They just hung out with their friends. Like me, I shouldn't say this shit. I'm gonna say it anyway. Fuck it. Me, let's preface this with I was booed up in college, but this is still a fucking travesty. I went to Morehouse. I did not go to homecoming until I graduated. And I know y'all ain't gonna believe me when I say this, but I didn't. I didn't care for the shit. Because I was like, I was already booed up. And to compound that problem, I wasn't very social. I kind of blossomed like around maybe in 2018, 20, starting maybe like 2018, 2020, something like that. I never, like I said, people always like people who get to know me nowadays, they're like, I can't see you as an introvert. And I have to hit them with the homecoming story. And I'm like, they're like, oh shit. I have to hit them with the historically, I've only had like one or two friends. Not because I couldn't have had more. I was like, I just, I just really like love my alone time. But so I'm like, what I'm trying to say is like, yo, these dudes that you're talking about, they were fucking hard to find. They may have been head in the books. They may have been not really social. They were not getting out and getting into the nightlife. They were not pledging. They were not this. They were not that. So let's just think about that. Let's break this down. These women that could have got married in their 20s, say you, how are they gonna find those men? They're not, because they would have to hang around these little nerdy spots. They're never gonna figure out those nerdy spots. They're gonna have to catch them in the wild. They're gonna have to catch them. It's gonna be very fucking hard. And this was pre-dating apps. I don't know when dating apps. Listen, y'all tell me because I don't know. Dating apps were new to me as I got divorced, but I don't know when the dating apps really came on. Not the like eHarmony shit. I'm saying, when did like the Bumble and the Tinder really come out? Someone let me know in the chat. I'm gonna take a guess. I'm gonna say Bumble and Tinder and all that shit, those dating type of apps probably came out about 2018. I'm gonna guess. But and someone gonna keep me honest. But and I bet this is the homecoming story and shit. Oh wow, okay. That's nice. Like I married at 24. And so like you and I were, but we both got married. I think the average black woman probably gets married. Matter of fact, I'm gonna do that, Google. Uh okay, Ozzy with the facts. I was 2 years off. I mean 4 years off, sorry. Sorry, I was getting a text. But yeah, so Tinder in 2012. Man, that must have been a time to be alive. I mean, 2012? Shit. Y'all were having the time of your lives, man. I know that must have been fun to get in on that craze. I wonder like how many people were jumping on it, or if it took years for people to start adopting to it. But like by the time I got into it in 2021, like man, it was on and popping. But let me go look. But thanks for that stat. I'm gonna go query the stuff from Angie. Let's see. Average. What is the no, wait, hold on. When do black women get married on average? I'm gonna say 27. Wow. 30. So again, Angie was over a decade ahead of that curve. You know? Props to that. And I think for black men, let me just go back to the black men because I think I said it already. I think it's like 31. Let me just share it one more time. When do black men get married on average? I think it's like 31. Yeah, 31. Hispanic, 28, the lowest. So black men they wait the latest to get married. They are the earliest to have children. They're the last to get married. They're the least to get married by a long shot. I think a long shot might be an understatement. Let me just try to get some content. So we're gonna start with some content. Let me cue it up real quick. So I don't have a banner for it, but like Tesla's going through it. Oops. I'm about to fuck up. Let's share this one more time. If I don't dox myself, I probably will. Let's see. But yeah, Tesla's been going through it. Let's try to go full screen with this shit. Elon has been acting an ass. People have been spray painting cyber trucks. They've been taking wheels off of Teslas. They've got armed security outside the Chicago Tesla up store, car dealership, and just Tesla's been, the stock has crashed, shit like that. And like, just a little bit of story. My a fellow pool member in my pool league, he totaled his Tesla, and I was like, "Oh, listen, good for you, man! Like, you're gonna be able to get like the new Tesla Y because they just refreshed it. I'm kind of jealous." And he was like, "No, I'm actually not gonna get a Tesla. Elon's been acting ass." And I'm like, "Damn!" And a little bit of like segue. My brother, he got like a BMW EV, like I think in January or whatever, or December. And he was like, for years, I've been trying to sell him on getting an EV. And he's like, I'm not getting a Tesla. And I'm like, damn, man. But like I said, people, you know what? If I can find the fucking memes, because they were fucking hilarious. I did not prep this shit. Damn it. But like there have been some funny ass memes because like Tesla's been taking a beating because they've been highlighting the fact that Elon Musk is, a Nazi. They've been highlighting the fact they've been doing all these little jokes. There's been a lot of jokes that they've been ripping off on Tesla. So that was kind of like the little stuff. I won't like share the screen for this, but like I want to segue into Jonathan Majors got married. Congratulations to he got married to Megan Good. That's awesome. Let's see. Let's see. There's some funny videos. Let's see. I don't know if I'm going to show those, but one of the things I want to follow up on is I told y'all maybe on the last stream. Let's see what the comment says. Okay. So I guess they're going crazy over Tesla in the UK. But I said like all these movements that have been created, Passport Bros. Austin Hallman didn't create that shit. He's just a pawn. He's just an influencer. He's just the puppet. The people who actually create these movements, the Proud Boys, the alt-right, are these guys making money off that shit? The founders actually, are they making money? And let me like prep like a little link real quick. There's this guy. This is probably like a blast from the past. We'll watch just a tiny bit of it. Let me put the fair use on just so we don't get hit. Let me share this. I forget the name of this dude. Let's go full screen. I forget the name of this dude. But let's just say, let me hit pause. But he's the founder of I think it's the alt-right. And this dude comes from a family, like a farming family that gets like subsidies from like the government and the state or whatever the fuck. He comes from money. It doesn't matter. He still feels this threat of white men are becoming marginalized and they're losing their control over the country and blah blah blah. Let's just hear this. Let's hear him out. Not really.
Zero respect for me. He doesn't believe in equality. He don't believe we should race mix, live in the same neighborhoods. That was very disheartening to me. First of all, let's get one thing straight. Okay. Do you believe in white privilege?
Yeah, white privilege is wonderful. I want to expand and deepen white privilege. We are living at a time in which white people are losing social dominance day by day.
You're afraid of being marginalized, right? Sure. Welcome to what it feels like to be Black.
You don't think white folks still dominating the world?
We do dominate the world to an extent. Look at the boards of directors of most corporations, tons of white people and Jews. Yes. But every day we hear, oh, isn't this great? There's more diversity in this corporation. Don't we need more people of color in films and movies? Isn't this wonderful? What is the trajectory? Where is the arrow pointing? The arrow is pointing away from white power. In my lifetime, what's going to probably happen is that I am going to become a minority in the United States. But what do I want for my great-grandchildren? I do want them to live in a white society, a European empire.
You don't consider yourself a racist.
I would never say something like, I don't like black people.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's
But you
not
don't
what
want
I'm about.
But you don't want me in your neighborhood.
Right. I mean, I think the country is fragmenting because at the end of the day, racial differences cannot fundamentally be breached ever.
What?
American race.
All right, let's pause that. But I just wanted to show that. If anybody knows his name, let me know in the chat. I forget his name. Let me Google it myself, and let me go to these chats. Who is this? Okay. Let's hear you out. Passport Bros are canceled the world, but Africa has no. I don't know about that, Wisdom. We got Austin Hallman, and we need Kenya. We need Africa to speak for that for themselves. I can't, and I don't know if you can, unless you're living in Africa. I can't speak on that. But from what I see, the fact that I think Zed has documented on this channel that people like Austin Hallman, Floyd have gone to Africa. They've linked up with people in Africa. There are Pookies in Africa. Hey, True Poetic, good to see you. Sorry, I gotta apologize to everybody at the beginning of the show. I was like, hey, sorry about the hiatus, but life has been life, and had some emergencies to deal with, including friends. But yeah, I mean, I think I can't speak to this, Wisdom. I think Africa has to speak to that. Zed, we would have to listen to Zed before any of us. And like she says, she's got a finger on the pulse way better than us. And she spoke about it on this channel. So I think the content she's put out, the fact that she's made this fucking channel, I mean, and she's commented on it, that people, I think the way she said it is kind of like black men and Passport Bros are going to Africa because they've crashed out everywhere else. Let's see. Hey, I mean, I listen. I'm not disagreeing with this statement, but I'm saying, as Latin America is pushing these dudes out, standing up laws, as you know, and different things like Richard was saying, they're kind of transforming some of the communities. They're standing up laws. They're trying to put certain measures in place to kind of discourage the Passport Bros from the sex tourism. Really, that's what we have to kind of really remember it as. Is, you know, they want to look at it as, we're looking for love, we're looking for wives. You got to look at men who are saying, I'm yearning for a wife, can't find a wife, like the dudes who like suck up a lot of helium from a balloon and start talking crazy. You got to take it, like turn your head back and be like, what the fuck? You got to look at them kind of crazy. Because I don't know about you, I've never heard a man saying like, I can't find a wife. Now, if you lost both your legs from diabetes, I get that. But these dudes are able-bodied. They're gainfully employed, and they're talking about, I can't find a wife in the States. Now, but like I said, if you're Stephen Hawking, I get it. But let's see, hold up. They're all over there posting videos. Yep, I agree with, yeah. But I'm saying, like, I want Africa to enter the chat and speak for themselves. I can't tell you what's going on in Africa, but like I said, I don't, like Zed, I don't want them in any of the countries, specifically Africa. But they're there and they're setting up shop. Let me see. Let me try to see. There's might be other content. I'm sure there's other topics. So yeah. Let's go to this one. So I was like, I'm like, since y'all are so fixated on divorce court and alimony and these laws need to change, how would you know these laws need to change? You've never been married. You're just hearing it from these bitter ass divorced dads. But let's run with that. If y'all are so fixated on that, are y'all also, putting that same energy into funeral homes? Do you have your casket picked out? Do you know all the technology that's involved in the caskets and all the options and all that shit? Have you already made a will? Have you already figured out hospice? Have you already, thought about a trust for your children that you claim you want to have because you want to be a traditional man? They haven't. This is a political play, and they just want a conservative agenda. They want to paint the country red. That's it. So all the stuff that I mentioned, they haven't put any fucking research into that shit because it doesn't deal with women. And I think one of the things that like I noticed through all this shit was like this insistence to be a traditional man, but you're also scared to provide for your family in the event that something goes south. But it's like, correct me if I'm wrong, if you're not married to the woman, and I think if you have kids, I could be wrong, this could be brilliant in this territory, that woman is definitely not entitled. She has no claim to your assets. And I'm not sure if the kids do either. I think that's where the brilliant idiots territory is going to come in. But I think I've done some Googles. Though if you're not married to a woman, you have children, that woman does not have access to your assets if you die. So they're really doing their families that they're creating, because they're creating having children. They're doing the woman, the mother of those children and their children a disservice. But like I said, I caution it with brilliant idiots. I might be saying something stupid about the children. They might be entitled. I don't know. I have to do that Google. But let me see what the comments are saying. Okay. Hold up. Let's see. So like I was saying earlier, the woman I'm dating, she was like, I showed her a video about matter of fact, I'm gonna show it in a second. She watched it for like a minute or two and she was like, hit pause. And I was like, okay. And she was like, this is fear-based. And I'm like, yes, I agree. It's not coming from a place of love. Like I've said on some of these podcasts, like these dudes aren't saying like, yo, like I'm in love. I found a woman of my dreams. Like I'm being a gentleman. I'm being patient. I really found the right person in my life. I wouldn't want to live without her. They don't have that. They just want to shit on 20-year-old women. Like, let's be clear about that with no disrespect. I don't have the highest of expectations for 20-year-old men or women. They're supposed to have fun. I chose not to. I in the same fun. I'm not saying I didn't have fun. I was booed up. That was a lot of fun for me. That was a lot of fun for me. I don't have any regrets. I married someone who I really loved. Still always will. I had a lot of fun. Let me see. Hold up. It is. But let's. Everybody should do their Myers-Briggs. Everybody should do their attachment style. I need to redo my Myers-Briggs. I forget what it is. It's an I in something. It might have changed. I don't know. We might have looked. Let's see. So like I said, like I was saying this a little bit earlier, we were talking about the fear-based shit. Matter of fact, I'm going to try to find that clip. Just so everybody can fucking hear that shit. But I wanted to go back to it because I'm going off the tangent. The alt-right founder, before I forget, he's a Duke graduate. Like I said, his family owns farms. He's not starving for money. He's a wealthy guy. He's just doing this shit for a political play, for a race, like a eugenics type of deal. He does not want to see white people lose their dominance. The Manosphere, the alt-right, the Proud Boys. It was founded by a leader at the Vice company. He was like a millionaire or some shit. So it's like a lot of these, like Andrew Tate, he is not a poor guy. He's not a blue collar guy. He never probably was. He's a retired boxer. A lot of these dudes are, Austin Hallman might be like one of the very few examples of guys just following guys who are not well off, and guys who don't even look anything like them. But like I said, a lot of these founders of these movements, these influencers of these movements, they were well off, and they don't represent the community that they're trying to lead or the ideas that they're trying to instill into these men, but they're following it anyway. It's like a dude with his shirt off in a drop top convertible, smoking a cigar. like they have that saying, like, yo, if you how do they say that shit? If you want to, if you want to buy this, I got some sand. I got a house, a sand castle at the beach, like an apartment made out of sand or some shit. I got something. I got some. I can sell you. I can sell you some sand at the beach or some type of shit. I know I'm butchering the shit, but I'm just saying, these dudes, these shirtless dudes with the drop top convertible, smoking a cigar with their a 6-pack, they can literally sell these dudes anything. Like they can sell them Cutco knives. They can sell them timeshares. They can fucking sell them snake oil. These dudes are gonna buy it. As long as it has a link and a QR code to an OnlyFans content, oh, they're definitely buying it. But I'm just saying, it proves to me that men are not leaders. They're easily swayed. They will easily follow. Let me just look at some comments since I'm gonna show some content. Yeah, Richard Spencer. That's the guy who created the alt-right. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna do mine. I'm gonna do mine again. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for joining the live. That's what's up. Let's see. OB, I'm glad you joined. Matter of fact, let me drop the link too. Let's see how long we've been here. We've been here an hour. Let me drop the link. I got some content to show. There's been some people, some influencers I've been wanting to show. I want to give a shout out to Femi. She's got her little conglomerate channel, Voices Unbothered or something like that. They've been dropping some fire content. They've been dropping some fire streams. And I just got to say this. Man, Femi, stall Prism out, please. I hate to see y'all fighting. I said that before this shit popped off, but I'm like, man, stall her out, please. Like, take your foot off the gas. You and DDS, please. Stall her out. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like men, they will follow a man. There could literally be a guy from Mars come down here tomorrow with a 6-pack, with a drop top spaceship, with like all the prettiest women ever, and dudes are gonna follow. They're gonna go to Mars. They don't even know what the fuck's coming, waiting for them on Mars. They're gonna just go. All they gotta do is say some misogynistic shit. They're going. Let me just say. Hold up. But I'm going off topic, but let's see. Let's do the one. Let's stay on topic. Let me do the Anton talks about Red Pill. But yeah, OB, it's great to see you. Let me go to this. Oh, no, not this one. This is not it. Hold up. That is not the right video. Hold up. Let me do some Googles real quick, because that was not the right video. Got it. I found it. Let me just copy this link and then show it. Okay. Fair use. Let's go. Let's go full screen with it too.
The plight of
You try to
African
tell your opinions
Americans.
as facts.
No.
And they're
The
not.
history and the plight of African Americans, that matters when we're talking about what's going on with Black people in 2025.
We're not talking about them
But
no
the
more.
inception of where Red
Let's
Pill
talk about
comes
people
from,
you don't like.
the inception.
Let me hit pause. I don't want to hear the Matrix fucking talking point. Oh, hey, what's up, OB? Hey, OB, welcome to the panel.
Hey,
How you been, by the way?
good man. Yourself?
Been good. Life has been lifing. It's really been lifing.
I hope for the best.
I appreciate it. It has a bit. It throws its challenges sometimes. But yeah, let me get to this clip. Like, I'm gonna skip this whole the red pill and the Matrix. Take the blue pill, take the red pill. Fuck out of here with that. that's not really why it started. And that's I think that's just their kind of like their segue to say, yo, this is legit. This is built on teaching men the truth. No. Let's skip ahead a little bit. I don't know my timestamps, but let's skip ahead.
They're basically being programmed to think a certain type of way. Or you can take a red pill and see the ugly truth of what the world really is. For example, men don't get love.
Pause. That's not true. That is not true. We're gonna hit pause on the shit he's not saying. All the shit that he's saying is not true. I have said this last year that there's a lot of men, especially these traditional, traditional facing or presenting type of men, that they don't know their love language. They feel like love is for kids, love is for children, love is something that doesn't really exist. Men are supposed to be stoic. Men are not supposed. They're not supposed to be loved. Men. There was another post, I didn't save it, but there was something on social media that said, "No woman will love you unconditionally." My red pillar best friend told me himself, "No, a woman's gonna leave you as soon as she finds a better deal." It's all these different types of little things to reinforce the notion that men don't deserve love. Love doesn't exist. We're not worthy of love. It doesn't really exist. You'll even hear Coach Greg Adams, men give love. No. I forget how he says it. He says something like, men give love, women don't give love, men give love. And I'm like, this is bullshit. But we're gonna hit pause every single time this dude fucking lies. Take a shot of something, a soda, whatever, every single time this dude lies.
There is no safety nets for us. If we fail, then we just fail. If we don't pay our child support, we go to jail.
Why do we care about the dudes who aren't paying their child support? Why? Why do we do that? Anton is not gonna be like, here's one thing, hot take. How many of these dudes that are on child support married to the woman that they have kids with? How many? Let's just take a guess of a percentage. It's a good Google. I want to Google it myself. Shit. I'm gonna Google it right now. Obi, feel free to say something real quick. I'm just gonna do a Google.
Okay.
What percentage of married men are on child support? It should be 0. Unless they're like separated. Yeah, it's difficult to hold up. Yeah, it just comes back and says it's difficult to approximate that shit. I would say it's a very small percentage, and they'd probably be separated or some shit. But let's keep going.
If we get homeless, then nobody gives a fuck about us. There is no safety net for men. There is nothing that is coming to save us. So what Red Pill, for example, says is, listen, you got to make sure that you take care of yourself, focus on yourself, focus on getting to the money, focus on being successful. Everything else comes with it. The women comes with it. This comes with it. This comes with it. And then you have the option to choose, and you increase your options, or you can decide that you don't want to participate.
Hold on. Let's take pause real quick. You get the bag. That's not stopping the women that you're talking about in these podcasts from coming for you too. So you didn't really wait for anything. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, sometimes this waiting, I'm gonna get more money and I'm gonna get a better woman. I don't know about all that. What you might be getting might be a worse person coming for you. But just like all I'm trying to say is, like, this victimization of Black men. There's no safety nets. We can't go to a shelter. I'm gonna do some Googles on that maybe after the show. I'm sure there are some programs for men who fall on hard times. We'll come back with that to the next show or whatever. But like, this victimization of men are so downtrodden. Women can, no matter what they do, they could fuck up a check. They could fuck around and not pay rent. Someone's out there gonna take care of them. No. But it's trying to scare people back into, they just want, this is the thing I want to say before I go into it. And this is why I think this whole red pill stuff is a scam. They just want laws changed. And you know what they're going to do, OB, once they get those, if they get those laws changed the way they want it, you know what's going to happen?
What's that?
shit's not going to improve for Black people. Shit's not going to improve for marriages and in general. And they're going to say, "Oh, well, the laws that were passed isn't. I wouldn't have done this exactly. I would have changed a little bit. This we need some extra changes. We need a 2.0 of the laws changed." They're going to keep doing that shit. It's never going to be perfect. There's always going to be something in the law that, no, it wasn't perfect. They put something in that I didn't want in. They did something. They didn't put something in that I wanted in, and this would have fixed the problem. It's just a circular. It's just circular bullshit. If they want marriages, there's marriages to be found. There's no man, like I said, minus some catastrophic cases, that's really struggling to get married. They're struggling to get married to the woman they want. And like I said, maybe I'm blessed that like I found a high school sweetheart and I didn't go get my heart broken in college, and then I didn't live with that for the next 20 years and take it out on women and then be struggling to figure out why I'm struggling to date. Listen, I got stood up on before I found the woman that I lost my virginity to, just TMI. I got stood up at a dance that I was with a girl, and I think I was maybe like a freshman or sophomore in high school or something like that. And I got stood up at a dance. I quickly forgot about that because I was a guy who actually got out at that time. I was going to clubs, every little young adolescent clubs in St. Louis. I quickly, it might have stung a little bit, but I got over it. And it seems like these men, for whatever reason, they can't get over it. And I think it's beyond the fact that maybe they're not very social. Because like I explained, like I wasn't the most social person throughout my life. I'm just starting to kind of like blossom out. But some of these dudes, I don't know why, OB, they hate women. Like they hate women. Like the woman I'm like talking to now, she was like, she'll hit me with these conversations of like, where do I exactly fit in your life? Am I your friend? Am I just a hole? Am I someone that you enjoy spending time with? And I'm like, don't you ever refer to yourself as a whole. But she says that because a lot of dudes treat women like that. I mean, and it's sad. That's why she had the hot take of like on this Papalone show. She's like, a lot of these guys don't even want women. They just want a hole. And that's so fucking sad. What are your opinions about things? It doesn't even have to be what I said. Just
I agree.
Okay. They don't value women as human beings. And that is being shoved into us from birth about how women have it easier. You'll hear from the manosphere, women had it so easy, they should have got married, they overlooked guys, they all just, if they just would have locked into their hot girl summer, I mean, during their hot girl summer, if they just would have locked into getting married, if they would have just married till you carried, or if they would have just went to college to get an MRS degree, that fucking doesn't exist as Black people. It doesn't, for different types of reasons. One, chief among them, Black men don't want to, they don't want to get married. They want to explore their, they want to have their freedom. There were, outliers who, sacrificed that and said, hey, I found someone who I love. I want to get married to this person. I was one of those people. And there's some others, but I think that the manosphere, I'm going off on tangents, but they want to act like there were so many people, there were so many stand-up guys, and they were ready and they wanted to get married. And they're speaking on behalf of these men that they've never talked to, they never were friends with, they were never those men either. And they're telling fairy tales, essentially. The whole red pill is it's a fairy tale. They're selling dreams, they're selling a way to cope for men, and it's by punching down on women, and it's so sad. And I would expect that, OB, from 20-year-old men. I would expect that from teenagers. I would expect that from middle schoolers. I wouldn't expect that from 30-year-old men who are 27 years of age or older or whatever. And we can go a little bit younger, but it's just like, I don't understand why these men are so broken. Who hurt them? Like, Anton Daniels is married, happily married, has a kid, he has a daughter. And hold up, someone's trying to join. Is someone trying to join the panel? Take a look, OB.
Okay.
I'll look. We got people. We got people. Hey, how's it going?
Hey y'all, this is Angie.
Hey, good to see you, and good to see you. Wisdom.
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
How y'all been?
I've been doing all right, kind of busy, but hey, hanging in there. Doing fine though. How about yourself?
I've been good. Like I said, life's been lifing.
Hey.
One of them, I see my fellow pool league person. I'm having an abysmal season, like the worst ever. But things are good. Things are good. You know, I'm surviving.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about all of this? Like the red pill, the lies, the coddling of men from other men.
Well, from my perspective, I like to look at the numbers. And the numbers don't lie. I hear what people have to say, and it's okay for people to have their feelings, their thoughts and opinions. I'll never argue people about how they feel and what they want to believe. But my thing is that when the numbers are not matching up, that's when I speak up. And so regarding some of the stuff that you were talking about, which I agree with, from my end, patriarchy is a pyramid scheme. It always has been. And the times that we're living in right now, the gig is up. So those who are at the top of the pyramid, they are desperate to keep the smoke screen up so they can get as far away from the consequences of what they participated in as possible. So let me give you a case in point. For a while, people have been talking about a lonely male crisis, lonely male crisis, lonely male crisis. And I get the angle from which they're coming from. There are a lot of men who can't find a date. They don't have too many friends because traditionally, through patriarchy, it was up to the woman to handle all of that, to create the network, and the guy just plugs himself in and benefits from it. But here's the question that I have. And looking at it from the numbers perspective, if there are 70 million more boys and men on the planet than there are women, how are the men lonely? You see, so they have to switch up the narrative in order to keep the consequences from coming their way. The reality is the wolf tickets that they've sold to societies generation after generation has not worked. And now they have a bunch of young men in their prime who are waiting for their payout. They were born male, they grew to the age of majority, so automatically there should be a woman there, right? So what's happening? And to put it into perspective, I think Elon and Trump, they both have degrees in economics. So they're well aware of what's happening. These people are very smart. So what they're doing is collecting money from their useful idiots. And that's not the way I'm calling them. I'm just calling a thing as far as how they see things, not me. Okay. So they're collecting their money from their useful idiots. They're getting their useful idiots to do their bidding. That's why they let the J Sixers out. Okay. They're trying to milk them for what they got until the smoke screen clears. And hopefully by the time the smoke screen clears, these young men who are in their prime, about 50 million of them globally, will be too old and too tired and too, those who are still alive and haven't unalived themselves out of depression, they won't fight back. That's what I see is happening. But it's convenient to blame women and, the way that we go about doing things. It's a convenient way out. It's a convenient excuse. But that's what I think is really happening.
Sorry, I was on mute. I love that. By the way, I was saying, wisdom. What do you have to say? What are your thoughts?
Could you guys hear me? That's number one. I just want to make sure you guys can hear me.
Yeah. And
I can hear you.
thanks, Angie. I really appreciate that.
No, so it's the first time me calling in. So first of all, I just want to say salute to the panel, salute to anybody in the chat. I subscribed like a week ago because I gravitated towards the name of the channel, which is Keep Africa Passport Bro Free,
Okay.
which I could relate to because, like I said, I'm Dominican, and passport bros, in my opinion, are just a cancer when it comes to Dominican Republic and all these videos that I see that they put up all the time on YouTube, making the country look worse than it already is. We already have our issues in Dominican Republic, but these videos are just making it 1,000 times worse. So I can relate to that, and I'm not too sure what the channel is about, but basing off of the name of the channel, I could only assume what it's about. And I'm just tuning in to see. It's the first time calling into live, and just wanted to salute you guys and just be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, I mean, just as a little info. I appreciate you subscribing. The channel is definitely kind of like pivoted away a bit from Passport Bros because, like I said, Zed is and us as a collective, we've done a great job of kind of like documenting and discussing how like these guys aren't who they say they are. They try to hide behind this shield of, hey, we're looking for wives. These women in the States, they're all ratchet, they're all this, they're all that. But over here, we can find a traditional wife in the DR. We can find a traditional wife in Thailand, but they're going to red light districts. So it's like, of all the places you're going, why are you going over there?
You ain't gonna find one there, yeah. You ain't gonna find one.
So it's kind of shifted, and we talk now mostly about like red pill,
okay.
Talk about personal stuff because, like, ultimately, the Passport Bros are like they started from the manosphere, which started from the red pill, so it's all connected. It's just
it's all pretty much, it's all related. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with pivoting away from that, if that's the case.
Yeah. So like me personally, what I want to do is I want to kind of like inspire men to say like, hey, you don't have to. I know there's a lot of pressure as men. Like we feel less than if we don't live up to the ideals of what manhood is supposed to be. If you can't lift, 500 pounds, if you can't chop wood, with one swoop, you're not a man. If you're not a ladies' man, you're not a man.
There's this cartoon version of what a man is supposed to be nowadays, but I get what you're saying.
And then the double standards on women, how women are just, they're ran through after 30, they're hit the wall after 30.
Yeah, that's ridiculous, man.
But these men don't get married to 31 on average, if that. But it's just, like I said, it's poisoning the world. I think, as you said, and maybe some others have said earlier, is like they're poisoning the world and ruining like young men, like people who are 5, 6, 10 years old. They're coming up with these Sneeko opinions and Andrew Tate opinions. It's just, what can we do? I've been really thinking about it the last few weeks, like what can we do to kind of stop this stuff? And like when we were kids, I don't know how old you are. Let me address that. How old are you?
I'm 40.
Okay, cool. I'm 42.
Okay.
I was thinking about it recently, and I was like, when we grew up, we were the generation that saw the parental advisory come into play.
Right.
Before that, it didn't exist. And I remember parents were fighting to stop the M&Ms and stopping content that probably, eventually became to what it is now and before. And it's like now we've become kind of like, we're in those shoes of the parents who were fighting to try to like get rid of the negative stuff off the internet, get rid of that.
Yeah. Even before that, I remember Dolores Tucker was like smashing tapes and hip hop tapes and stuff like that. I remember. Yeah. So I know what you're referring to.
Yeah. So it's like, I've been thinking about it like the last few weeks. I'm like, is it a war that's even winnable? Or does a generation have to come about that just rejects this stuff outright? But like I said, I'm doing the best I can through this channel to try to encourage men, like show them what does healthy masculinity look like. Masculinity.
I'll tell you this much. I have, even the fact that you're trying to speak up about this, like I have an immense amount of respect for that, because honestly, it's like there's more in the algorithm. There's more content that is more leaning towards like red pill and stuff like that. So just seeing a channel like yours and a voice like yours is refreshing, because to be honest with you, it's just, I feel bad for the youth nowadays, man. Like it's just, they're being inundated with this kind of rhetoric and this kind of brainwashing when it comes to when it comes to red pill. There's some stuff that I may agree with, but it's just like the exaggeration and like the cartoon version of it. Like there's some reality that you could speak to that I may agree with, but it's just like they take it to a whole nother extreme.
Yeah, and like I think I got to figure out how I was trying to approach the opinion on that topic of like these guys are kind of like catastrophizing and like dooming all their situations. Like I was in the video I was about to show. I'll show it in a second. And Anton Daniels is saying he's trying to spin red pill as we're just trying to make men informed. We're trying to make sure that they're informed before they make the decisions. Yeah, you're informed by all the negatives. It's just it's a huge coincidence that you're not highlighting any of the positive. You're not highlighting all your examples of marriage are from the bitter divorced dads. You're not talking to people who've been like happily married and they've been together and they might have gone through things and worked it out. They're just only looking at Iman Shumpert and saying, oh my God, he gave up a house, he gave up a business, he gave up this. Oh, that's gonna happen to me if I get married. It's like, you don't own a business, you don't have a 401k, you don't got nothing like that. You are not getting taken to the cleaners. Like, it's not gonna happen. But like, I've been trying to say on these channels is like, yo, divorce does not end in 50-50. It's in a lot of these states, unless you're like in one of these community property states, they're trying to look for an equitable split. They're trying to make people whole, really. And most of these black marriages are going to have two people working. But these guys, again, kind of want these traditional households that they can't afford. If your wife does not work, yeah, you're probably going to be splitting close to half or more or whatever. But in these cases where your wife is going to be working, maybe as I told the woman who I'm dating now, you want a dead child alimony, marry a woman who makes more than you. You ain't paying shit. Unless the things were to change throughout the marriage and you make more than her. But like if she makes more than you the whole damn marriage, you're not paying shit. You're not going to be paying 50-50 alimony. But they kind of spin it this way in this red pill where they're saying, no, but you should be afraid of a boss babe. I wanted to show some shit. I wanted to like show maybe like one little thing. But like keep going, like but it's just like I said, they want to scare, they're really scared about the fact that women are earning a lot more money nowadays. The women that they want might be making a lot of money. Let me show this just real quick and I'll come back to the chat. Basically this, they're saying if you find a woman who's a nurse, you should run. Like if you see this combo, run. And it's like she's a nurse, she's making great money, she's got great taste, she's got an Apple Watch, she drives a nice car. What the fuck? What's wrong with that? But
so like with those accessories, like the Crocs and the like that stuff, like
it's the career. If she is a nurse, they'll tell men in the red pill, if she's a nurse, if she's a lawyer, if she's a boss babe, you don't want to date women who make a lot of money. If she's a doctor, you shouldn't want her. Because they say women only respect men who make more as much money as they do, if not more. So they're already trying to like bake it in, like, no, they don't even want you. They're gonna see you as less than. They're gonna see you as inferior. I'm not saying that there aren't women who might do that, but it's this broad brushing of saying no.
I think that's the problem. The problem is that it's like the animation, like the over exaggeration, like a cartoon version of the truth. Like, okay, yeah, there's some truth to that stuff, but when you over exaggerate it and make it and just paint everything at all women with just one broad brush, that's where the problem is, because it's not. I mean, yeah, there is some truth to that. You might run across some women that if they make more money than you, they might have a certain, you know, personality trait, or they might feel like they're above you because they make more money. Yeah, I mean, you're probably gonna run across that, but it's not 99% of women that make more money than you that's gonna have that type of personality.
Right.
So
And you're right. And it's like they're insecure also about what is the role I'm going to have to play. If I'm with a woman who makes more than I do, then all her father, her uncle, her brothers, all the men I know are going to laugh at me and say that I'm a kept man and I'm not a real man and I don't make more than my wife. That's what they're really scared about. That's what they're really afraid about.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, to me, okay, that might be the case if you're like, I'm not gonna lie to you, if you like unemployed and you sitting on your ass, you sitting on your hands, like, then yeah, that might be the case. But if maybe I'm naive, but in my opinion, if they know that you're a hardworking man and you just so happen that your career is not as lucrative as your wife's career is, then I don't think they're going to be looking at it like you're a kept man or whatever the case is. It just so happens that your wife's career is more lucrative than yours is. But if you're working hard and you're doing and you're doing your part to keep the household up and all of that stuff, I don't think anyone in the family, any male in the family, is going to be feeling that way. For the most part, there might be one guy that feels that way, but it has nothing to do with my opinion. Like that's just my opinion. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, overall, like what I'm hearing, what's going on in my mind is like a lot of these dudes, they're living vicariously through the opinions of others. Like, yo, do all the other guys find my woman attractive? Like, what are they gonna think about me? What am I gonna look like to everyone else? Who cares?
Right.
Hold on, let me go to the chat. A kept man is just a man who is like a stay-at-home dad, is a guy that is a woman who makes a lot of money, and he can just have a soft life at home. He doesn't have to pay all the bills and all that kind of stuff. Just like they say, that's basically a kept woman. And if a woman's in that situation, hold up. Hold on. What else? I'm trying to think of some others, but yeah, they're looking for the opinions of other men. Oh my gosh, like they're trying to appease, they're trying to stand out.
And that's a huge problem already. Like, if you're going to be living that way, like you're going to be worried about what other men think about your relationship or how your stance in your relationship and all of that. That's a huge problem. If you're going to be worrying about that, you might as well not even be in a relationship at all, because that's going to affect you, because you can't worry about what other men's opinion or anyone in general opinion is about your relationship and how you decide to handle it and how you guys decide to be in a relationship like that. Yeah. So that's just a problem number one. Like,
yeah. 1 second. Let me show some more of this Anton Daniels clip, and we can just talk a little bit more about the red pill stuff. Let's go. And just beware, Anton Daniels is going to have his tap dancing shoes on.
Yeah, I've seen some of this stuff, so I kind of know what to expect.
Okay, let's do it. Fair use.
In the first place, whatever you decide to do is up to you. But all red pill is, and y'all got to stop boxing everybody else into the same box. All red pill is telling you the truth of what's going on in the world. That's it. Nothing more. If somebody decides that he want to call a chick a bitch, then that's him. That don't have nothing to do with red pill. If a dude decides that he want to go and get married and give all of his money to his woman, that's him, as long as he knew the truth before he does it. All red pill is showing you what the truth is before you jump into it and put yourself in a situation. And then you can't say that I didn't know better before I did it. That's all it is.
So if that's the case, Anton, how you explained it, would you consider, because you saying that, I wouldn't consider F and F. I mean,
let's skip a little bit.
Again, the individual actors and how they use the information has nothing to do with whether or not the information is relevant. You can take anything that's good and make it bad. You can take anything that's bad and make it good. Like, You can
Like,
take something. You can listen. The
Like
internet
himself.
itself was not meant for what we using it for today. Some people take it and they do unscrupulous things and they do some really bad things on it. Other people take it and they use it for something that's good, or they use it to communicate or do more work more efficiently. You can take the tool and make it to be what you want it to be, but the fact of the matter is, it's just showing you the tool. It's just showing you the truth. That's it. Now y'all want to take different people and try to label it because y'all mad at the fact that guys ain't operating the way that y'all want them to operate anymore. That's on you. I'm gonna say the same thing that the women say. Who hurt you?
Yeah, when I
you?
hear a lot of the red pill talking points, it just doesn't seem like it's advocating for men and women to come together in a positive way. It's always about keeping women under your thumb and looking at a woman instead of like a companion or somebody that can actually add value to your life as like somebody to use and they're an enemy towards you.
Because the fact
And
of
I
the
don't think
matter is
that's
there's a
true.
lot of women that don't add value to your life. They looking to
Okay, but
destroy
there's
you.
also a lot of women that do. So my thing is, if we know that there are a lot of women that aren't like that, why is the obsession with talking about the women that are toxic and are negative?
Because
If
in
you are
our
a grown
culture
man-
today,
if you are a
it's
grown
more
man-
negative than positive as far as different women. That's
No,
actually
that's not true. That's
it's
not true.
absolutely
That's
true.
what
That
we.
is
That's
true.
what. Then that's
It's
what
100%
these men are.
true.
Then that's
And
what
when we
these men are
solve for a problem,
deliberately
when you solve
choosing
for a
men,
problem,
then they need to choose
solve
better.
for the
Then they
majority.
need to choose better.
All right, we'll end it with that. It's a nice little clip to video to watch, but I'm just saying, like, they're shaping this reality and just telling men, no, the majority of women are bad. The majority of women are going to take advantage of you, use you, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm not going to say you won't find one of those, but I'm saying the majority. It just depends on what you're looking for, what you're attracted to, what you value in a person. In my opinion.
Do you
Women are not
disagree with?
even the majority anymore. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, my bad. Go ahead.
I was saying that women are not even the majority in the world anymore. We're less than 50% globally. So what they're basically revealing is, well, from my perspective, observing them, they are underdeveloped men.
Yeah.
They're chronological adults, yes, but mentally the capacity is not there and they're fighting against it. That's crap, my Bluetooth. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, my Bluetooth went out. So I feel like they're like fighting their own development. That's one aspect of it. But my question is, looking at it from a numerical perspective, how can we, on one hand, be the weaker sex, but on the other hand, we're such a huge problem. But on the other hand, we're not even 50% of the global population. So what it tells me is that if you're afraid of a population that is smaller than your own and weaker, what does that say about them? You know?
I love that point. Yeah, it's just the gaslighting that they're doing on everybody. It's actually kind of impressive, like how they're smoothing over. They did the same thing with the Trump supporters. They did the same thing with the alt-right. They did this stuff that they're doing to kind of say, no, you are the victim. It's a lot of it is debate bros, where they're just saying, this is facts, this is facts, this is facts, this is facts. And these guys are just taking it hook, line, and sinker. And they're just believing, no, my life sucks. And women got it easy. They have nothing to complain about. They're not us. Sure, are we living different lives? Yes, but that doesn't mean like all men, like I said, like they convince men, all women are born with value, and all men they're not born with any value. They got to get money to get value, and it's so bullshit. And it just instills this like downtrodden belief that like your life has no worth unless you can get money. Women do not value a man with money, and it's like that's a role you're trying to play. You want to be the sole provider, then that's the life you chose. You don't have to choose that. I know society tells you have to be that. That's not what you have to be, especially like with this economy. It doesn't really make sense in a lot of cases. But I agree with what Angie is saying. It's like there's a lot of arrested development, and it's like listen, if y'all are struggling in this economy, just say that. Say that and stop making memes and jokes that are really, breaking down the connections between Black women and Black men and hurting and giving and allowing younger Black men to disrespect Black women. Just say that. Talk about the economy. Talk about how you're struggling within it. But these guys say that I want us also as men, honestly, Wisdom and Angie, I want us to also admit that we might not be ready for certain things. If we're not ready to get married, if we can't afford to get married, say that instead of trying to say, nah, these women don't want to get married. These women aren't raised to be wives. I got to go overseas to go find a wife. Black women are the least desirable. That has nothing to do with it. You're dancing around the subject of that. You're not ready to get married. You don't actually want to get married. And because I think there's a stigma, like when people say, hey, I don't want to get married or I don't want to have kids, there's a little bit of blowback that might come. And I think this whole manosphere stuff, these dudes are gaslighting and deflecting to try to avoid the blowback that they really should be internalizing, that like, yo, you are not where you're supposed to be. You need to work on yourself. If we got, like I said, if these manosphere dudes to kind of land the plane, if they just brought on one ex-girlfriend, I don't think that they're going to echo the same things they're talking about. I don't think the report card is going to come back really good, but they get to have this anonymity on the internet, and they just get to kind of present as, I have had this perfect life. I am doing everything right. Everybody wants me. I'm very desirable. And it's just bullshit. And
I think
go ahead.
No, I just think if they were to encourage more emotional intelligence development and conflict resolution, like being able to deal with that, like heartbreaks and things like that, I would have more respect for them, because that's really what it comes down to. They just haven't been able to overcome some heartbreaks and some betrayal and stuff like that we've all gone through as men and women. Men have gone through it, women have gone through it too. It's not just women doing men dirty, it's the other way around too. So it's just about us being able to get over that. There should be more encouragement of developing your emotional intelligence versus just blaming one whole sex, like one whole group of people. And I think that's what's going on with the whole red pill thing. They just want to blame. But these same guys that want to call out victimhood when it comes to liberals or whatever the case is, they don't want to call out the victimhood that goes on when it comes to the manosphere and them blaming women for every damn thing. So you guys are being hypocrites, because you're talking about victimhood, but you're being the biggest victims out here, blaming females for all your failures and everything else. So I feel like the first thing that these young men should look towards is developing your emotional intelligence. If you get your heart broken, you know what? It's going to happen. It has happened to the best of us and the worst of us. And it's just something that you have to get over and get over in the right way, not in a toxic way, because then you're going to become like one of these guys. So that's what I have to say about that. But y'all could go ahead.
What I was about to offer, and it's going to be off on a tangent, y'all, if you can just bear with me.
I love
it. Okay. For me, I noticed a pattern. I have people that are a part of the rainbow community within my family who I love very dearly. I'll go to bat for them. I'll catch a charge for them. So I'm saying all that to say I have nothing against the rainbow community, but I may say something that might push the boundary, but I'm saying it because it's true, not for the sake of pushing the boundary, if you understand where I'm coming from. Okay. And I noticed, not just with some of my family members, but with other people too, throughout my lifespan, that the ones who kind of like who they like, if I was around while their mothers were pregnant, it was like a very stressed pregnancy. So I decided to kind of do a bit of research. Like, is there a connection? You know, it's not to say that every person that was born to a woman that endured prenatal maternal stress, that's what it's officially called, is going to come out as a part of the rainbow. But there is a high incidence of it. So my curiosity led me to wonder more and more. And what it boils down to, there is a chromosome. I'll put it in the chat, XQ28. Let me put it in the chat real quick so y'all will know what I'm talking about when I say it. This chromosome in particular is very sensitive to stress while the baby is developing in utero. This particular chromosome has been seen to be altered in especially men who are a part of the rainbow community. Now, when I say this, I'm not trying to say that there's something wrong with a person for being a part of the rainbow community. Please don't take it like that. Or that, you know, something needs to be done to not have rainbow people. That's not where I'm coming from. But I'm just putting two and two together. This chromosome has also been associated with like the spectrum, autism. You understand? So when we look at particularly the Black community, let me go there because that's my community. A lot of single mothers stressed out during pregnancy, and we're seeing a higher number, a higher percentage of rainbow people. Again, nothing wrong with that. I have rainbow people in my family, love them dearly. What I think about the red pill, and why am I bringing this up? I think that there may be a percentage of them that have different XQ28 chromosomes, okay? And they're in an environment, they're in a society that has the expectation that they're supposed to perform a certain kind of way, but their biochemical reality won't allow them. In other words, let's put it like this. For a guy that is hetero, if he sees a woman that he's attracted to, you know, the flag will go up the pole and show that he's attracted. He'd want to mate with that woman eventually. But what some of these guys, I think, based on their behaviors, because they don't move like hetero guys do. I'm a woman, I date guys, I'm married to a guy. Well, I don't date guys anymore because I'm married, but you get what I'm saying, I hope. The hetero guy is pretty straightforward. He goes for what he wants, but these guys are kind of skittish. And part of me wonders if their skittishness is because their flag doesn't go up the pole for women, it goes up the pole for other situations. But they're enduring the pressure to conform to heteronormativity, but that's not what they want to do. So they're complaining, oh, it costs too much money, take out on a date. And when the reality is they don't want to take us out on a date. They don't even want to be with us. Which again, that's okay. If you're gay, lesbian, well, this will be guys. So if you're gay, fine. We're living in 2025. Go and be who you are.
I ain't gonna lie. That's a good point. That actually that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So from my perspective, I want to see them embrace who they really are. Like, I've been an ally to the LGBT community all my life. You know, my grandmother, may she rest in peace, always had like a secondary home. And one of my relatives had to live there for a little bit until they got on their feet, whatever the case. But while they were there, other members of the community were living there too. They were living there peacefully. You know, things are a bit different now, but I'm talking about a time when people came out, they were getting kicked out of their homes, they were getting fired, their families were disowning them. So my grandmother's house became kind of like a shelter of sorts for people within that community. So I've been a lifelong ally. I'm saying what I'm saying, but I'm not saying that there's something wrong with people being a part of the rainbow. But I think there's something up with them because they just don't move like hetero guys. Even a dog would want to hump my leg because in the dog's mind, I'm a girl. But these guys,
I'm gonna get killed for this, but like what you're saying reminds me of someone in particular,
Go for it.
and that is Kevin Samuels. Because
oh,
in
Fred, the cheerleader.
yeah, because in my opinion, I'm sorry, man, but I've always looked at him as kind of feminine, in my opinion. And what you're saying, Angie, is like really makes me think about what he might have been going through and his hatred toward, which came off as hatred. I'm not saying he did hate women, but it came off that way. And it
Oh, he
might be
did.
it might be because he was part of that community and he just didn't know how to like really come out and embrace it or whatever the case is. So it kind of caused him to react a certain way and spew certain point of views. But in my opinion, he came off as very like extremely feminine. And it's kind of funny to see these masculine quote unquote guys praise someone like Kevin Samuels when he was pretty feminine in my opinion. But I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm just gonna say that.
Yeah, and this woman who I'm dating too, like she said anytime she sees a man who's kind of like snarky and rude and stuff like that and just overall mean, she's like, I think he's got erectile dysfunction. Like one thing that we're not saying, but the one thing that the manosphere is not saying is they want to say black women are 80% overweight and 60% obese. They're not telling you that black men are the most unhealthy men on the planet. They're not telling you that black men lead in ED. They're not telling you that. They're not saying that at all. So
wait.
Yeah.
Is that true? Is that like a true statistic? Like what you just said about black men leading in
erectile
ED?
dysfunction. It's facts.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
The lady you're dating is onto something, but I'll say this: the ones that are hetero and they have ED, the way that they behave, like with women, is that they want to kiss and hug and touch all up on the woman first because he know that when it's time to perform, he can't, the flag ain't going up the pole. So he's trying to get his feels in early. So that's one way. But the ones who, like she said, are kind of snarky, I think their issue is more so if they do have ED, it's because they're not attracted to women. You put a man in front of them, then the ED goes away.
Yo, this is crazy. Oh my Lord. But it makes sense though, man. It really does.
Or the hetero guy another form of a hetero guy with ED, if he has a woman in a relationship, then he may start accusing her of cheating. But that's as far as it'll go with them. As far he's not going to be on her for her hair, wig, or weave and makeup and all this other kind of stuff, unless he feels like she's going out to cheat on him. That's why she's getting dressed, but not for the simple fact that she's wearing those things. The guys that tend to go after that, it's because they're upset with their biophysical chemical reality and that the society won't let them get away with putting on hair weave and makeup and nails and all that other kind of stuff. Just some insight. So,
wow. It's pretty deep. Now, Angie, when it comes to the other statistic that you said that women they make up less than half of the population. Where are you getting this statistic from, if I may ask? Because I didn't know that.
Data at theworldbank.org.
Okay.
Yes, because what the World Bank has to do when countries want to borrow money from the World Bank, what the World Bank has to do, just like with any other person that's getting a loan, they have to be able to see your capacity to repay it. So I don't know if you've been watching the trend in the news lately, people or these different nations or governments are concerned about the birth rate decline. Here's
Yeah.
why. Because generally, I'm speaking from an economic perspective, the population within a society that is doing the heavy lifting are going to be the ones that are from age 19 to age 44. Because when you're 19, you're just getting into workforce. When you're 44, you're probably about middle management, but around that age, you're making preparations to exit. So also, a lot of mile markers are happening between the ages of 19 and 44. People are finishing college, people are getting married, people are having children, they're buying houses, buying cars. So a lot of economic growth is centered on this population because they are the workhorses of the society. So with the World Banks, and I know I'm gonna make it brief because I can talk about this for ages. What the World Bank does is say, okay, country, let's say Angie Nation, okay, you want to borrow money to build up your highway system, right? Well, what percentage of your population is between the ages of 18 or 19 to 44? So if they see that, right now that population is small, but we see within the next 5 years, there's going to be a boom to that population, right? So here's what we need you to do. We need you to boost the education of the children in school. We need you to put girls in school so that you can have more people participating in the workforce, so that through taxation, you can use some of the funds that you're collecting from taxation to pay back the loan. Okay. So what's happening is with patriarchy, a system that's been in play for thousands of years, it has worked against the reality of running a nation. Okay. And the way that it has done it is through domestic violence, through gender selective Roe v. Wade. I'm not trying to get the live taken down, Yeah. Thank you. So domestic violence, smishbortion, witch hunts, you name it, all kinds of things that have unalived women and girls left and right. But particularly with the gender selective smishbortion, okay, what happened is that in places like India and within China, where they preferred a boy to be born so that they can have someone to pass the property down to. When a woman got pregnant, the in-laws, meaning the husband's side of the family, would take the woman to the doctor to get a sonogram. And if they saw that it was a girl, they would tell her either you go ahead and have a smishbortion or we'll beat the baby out of you. Wow. Or if the girl was born, they would poison her and bury her, whatnot. So what's happened is that these things have come and played together. This is patriarchy's fault. They have played together to get us all to 2025 where we are right now. Meaning that if you were to take every woman and girl, respectfully, like pair her up with a boy her age, if you would take every female human being on the planet right now and just pair her one by one up with a man, there would be or with boys and men, respectfully, there will be 70 million boys and men left over. And so what patriarchy is trying to do is keep the population dumb and stupid enough so that they can buy into the smokescreen that they're presenting so that they can avoid confronting the consequences of that. What are you going to do when you've been telling people for thousands of years, particularly men, that all you have to do is grow up and at a certain age, definitely by the time you get 30, you're going to get this thing that will cook for you, clean for you, Occasionally, you can go and hump her and she'll squat out your babies, and you can live happily ever after. What are you going to do? And right now in 2025, 50 million of those guys who are looking for this thing to hump and have babies that's supposed to be cooking and cleaning for them, they're in their prime saying, hey, it's so hard to get a date out here. What's going on? There's something wrong with the women. And so the patriarchs are saying, yeah, it's the women. Wouldn't you? If it was your neck on the line and you got 50 million dudes coming for you. So what I'm getting at, we women, and we've been surviving through it all. It's not easy being us. And that's another misconception. It's not easy being us. Yes, we have our natural capabilities, but it's not easy existing in the world as a woman. Think about the challenges you have to go through on a day-to-day basis. Now add pregnancy, add menstruation, add menopause, add add all kinds of stuff.
You going in right now. You going in. But
and I'm not saying that to say that I hate being a woman. I love being a woman. I don't want to be a man. I enjoy being a woman, trust me. And I love being a Black woman. Even though the world doesn't make it easy, they don't get to determine how I feel about myself. But I'm just saying, as a matter of fact, for the trans women who have had the surgery and lived as women for, some of them have switched back to being men. Because they found out that it's not easy being a woman. The myth that patriarchy has told them has been a lie. If it was so easy, then why would we be fighting for our rights?
Do you feel like the patriarchal system doesn't work? Do you feel like it's like outdated and it doesn't work? Do you feel that way?
It never did work. We're not designed to operate like that. Let me give you something, because when I say stuff I've learned, part of why I put an ENTJ in my name is because, think about it, only like less than 2% of the people on the planet think like I do. So that means 98% of people don't immediately see what I see until, after some time has passed.
Yeah, it's a rare personality type.
Exactly. So, and I've gotten in trouble plenty of times in my life because of that. But the people who couldn't stand me at first, give it some time, they come back and be like, I remember you said that a while back. Yeah. Okay. So I like to attach something that people can go to whenever I say something that's kind of out there. And there are people who have existed uncontacted until recently that live on an island, Sentinel Island in the Indian Ocean. They have been living there for 60,000 years, and they are monogamous. They value time with their family. The men and the women, they cuddle with each other. They spend the time cuddling with each other because that's just something that they do. So if patriarchy is the way to go, then why aren't the Sentinelese patriarchal? And they've been existing like that for 60,000 years. You see, so patriarchy is a scam. It's an economic scam, because you got to think about it. It puts too much capacity on the woman. Like, we got to make up for it. It's like we're the redundancy. I don't know if I'm describing it right. It convinces boys and men to come into the world with somebody that is supposed to be around helping them all the way. It's kind of like making them proud of being a special needs adult. Nothing against people who are special needs, but for someone to be an adult and they have to wait on another person to cook for them, clean for them, do all these things for them, instead of having the means to do it themselves and also do other things. It's a scam to extract labor. And when I think about why would somebody need to live in a lesser capacity than what they were designed for and have somebody else take up the slack for them? Well, It's because they need the time to do other crap, whether it be with other men. If you look into like the history of the samurai, if you look into what's another one, the Ottoman Empire, you look into the Chinese Empire, you will find these patterns where places that were highly patriarchal, ancient Greece, ancient Rome is another one, and definitely different places in ancient Europe or, you know, pre-colonial Europe, you'll find this pattern. Wherever there's a situation where women have lesser rights, the labor is expected out of us. We're expected to cook, we're expected to clean, we're expected to weave cloth, we're expected to do all of those things, but we don't have the rights. And so whenever that combination exists, what you often find, and this isn't me speculating, I've done some historical research, and you can feel free to do the same thing too. You find that there is a class of men who are kind of like the lovers to the elite. Nothing against people who are gay. That's not why I said that. But I'm just saying 1 + 1 = 2 in that situation. When you see a society where women do not have rights and patriarchy is up high, if you look very closely, the men are being with other men. It's the same way in Afghanistan. They call them bachabazi or the T-boys.
Wow. I mean, you've been going in. I mean, but see, my thing is, okay, in my lifetime, I've always been, as far as I know, living under more of a patriarchy. So my only thing is like, and I know I might get a lot of like pushback and people that disagree, but like men that disagree. But my only thing is, why not keep an open mind towards a different kind of system, whether it's like a matriarchal system, or even when it comes to capitalism, a lot of people feel like capitalism is the greatest thing since sliced bread, but maybe capitalism doesn't really exactly work the way it's maybe another system. I don't know which system could replace capitalism, but maybe we could open our minds to a different kind of system. So I'm hearing you out. I'm hearing what you're saying though.
Norway, the Nordic model, I talk about that a lot on my channel with my videos. That is the way to go about doing it, because what capitalism does is creates a permanent underclass. So you have to have people who are poor enough and desperate enough to go and work for someone to keep them rich. And this is what we're kind of dealing with right now in the US. We're at the point where we need to implement our own version of the Nordic model. What the Nordic model is like Norway is not a communist country. I want to add that first. This is not about communism. And whether we want to accept it or not, for those of you who may be listening and be like, no, that's communism, we're already practicing some form of socialism when we have the roads that are available for everyone to drive on, when we have schools that are available for free to children from kindergarten to 12th grade. Nothing is free, but what's happening is that taxpayer funds are providing these services that everybody can access regardless of their background, right? So the Nordic model, what it does, it takes the tax dollars from the people and makes sure that everybody is going to be okay. Not in a communistic way. Communism is about like the government owning all the corporations and deciding, the economy that way. No, Norway has their own private company. I think, what's the name of the program? Chris, you can probably help me with this. Linux. I think Linux came out of Norway, and Linux is an operating system that many businesses use. So what they do is make sure that nobody in their society is homeless, hungry, and doing bad. Everybody there has health care. Everybody has access to find housing. Even if they're unemployed, they're not going to go homeless. We need that over here. But in order for that to happen, that means that businesses would have to pay their fair share of taxes. That's part of the problem of what's going on over here. Me personally, I don't care I do care who's in office as far as how it's going to benefit the people. But what I'm saying is, even if it was Daffy Duck, and Daffy Duck said, I'm going to implement the Nordic model in the United States, I would vote for Daffy Duck so that everybody can be okay. That's what we have to do. But what it means is that instead of someone like Elon Musk having, well, he doesn't have that much now, but at one point he was valuated at over $400 million or $400 billion, excuse me. Instead of him having $400 billion, it may mean that he'll have to have $355 billion so that people don't go homeless and hungry and without health care, because his businesses would be paying their fair share of taxes the way that everyday working people are paying their fair share of taxes. So that's the system that we need to have in play.
Okay. Angie, which countries use the Nordic model again?
Let me look it up. Norway, definitely. And they have been listed on the World Happiness Index for the 7th year in a row as the happiest country on the planet.
Hold on. Okay. Do you guys feel like, do you guys live in America? I'm not sure. So that's why I'm asking.
Born and raised, and I'm a Southern girl too.
I'm in Atlanta.
Okay. Do you guys feel like America is the greatest country in the world? Yes or no?
I'm gonna say yeah, it's got its problem. I'm gonna take the OB approach. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's got its problems, but yeah.
Same. That's the same thing I have to say. I'm a veteran too.
Okay. I was just curious. If you don't feel that way, I mean, I'm not gonna kill you for it, but I just wanted to. I was just curious.
The countries that practice the Nordic model: Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, and Sweden.
Okay.
And even Canada is better off. Canada has like their own version of social safety nets, and they rank higher than we do on the United Nations Human Development Index, which is an index that was created by an economist to show how well are individuals doing in the countries, and ranking the countries from 1 to 191 on a variety of things such as life expectancy, access to opportunities, access to social benefits within the society, freedom, laws that foster, people's rights. So who's doing better? Well, it's showing that the more that there's equality, the more that people have access to education, the more healthier people are, they live longer, the population is happier than situations where these things don't come into play. And the countries that are kind of like at the lower end, they tend to be highly patriarchal.
Yeah, I'm wondering like if those countries that you mentioned have like a huge alt-right presence, like
Denmark, Finland, Iceland, Norway, Sweden, they're probably not immune. But given, I think, Sweden and Norway especially, their response to Tesla, I think that they're kind of like on the side of, nah, we don't want that over here.
Yeah.
And
what's been going on with? I'm not too educated on that. What's been? Because you put me up on game. What's been going on with when it comes to Tesla in those countries?
Well, Tesla is being boycotted around the world. So Norway and Sweden definitely have joined in on the boycott.
Okay.
So the sales have gone down. Their
Oh, wow.
sales, yeah.
Because I know
The
that was
sales,
going on here. I just didn't know it was a worldwide thing.
yes, it absolutely is. In France, they burnt up a Tesla dealership.
Wow.
I think it was in
What?
Toulouse. Yeah.
Yeah, let me show some pictures real quick.
Wait. What? Okay. Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Here's one, a little Tesla meme. This one was cute. I liked it. This is funny. The people were coming, and then this. They were spray painting them at the dealerships and stuff like that, breaking windows, taking wheels off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Them boys got some things in their hands, man. They don't know what they got themselves into.
Yeah. But a lot of it is that Doge stuff too. How Elon Musk is, he's spearheading Doge. It's, people cutting, taking aid, taking people's jobs, threatening other things. His affiliation with Trump, and then how Elon had to come out and do that. Not disaster recovery, but he had to do that PR stunt to bring up all those cars on the White House lawn to try to give Tesla some good PR. But yeah, people are they're taking it to Teslas, taking it out, not just on there was a nice little picture. I'll have to find it in my camera reel, but they've been taking it to not only Tesla but Elon Musk, and also taking it on people who own Teslas too.
Well, I mean, you can't impact people's lives and expect there not to be any kind of backlash. I mean, you don't know who you're probably firing people with families, people that have a certain type of lifestyle that was afforded to them, being that they worked in those positions, and now you're taking all of that stuff away from them, whether it's justified or not. You're gonna. This is what comes with that. So it is what it is.
Both Trump and Elon have degrees in economics. They know exactly what they're doing. And okay, there is. I'm sorry, it's kind of late. I'm seeing the picture in my head, but it's called a circular flow chart. Okay. A circular flow chart is used by economists to kind of understand how resources flow from one segment of the society to the other. So, for instance, what's happening, going back to what I was saying earlier about businesses needing to pay their fair share of taxes, what's happened over a long period of time is that a lot of these businesses have been afforded tax breaks in order to set up shop in communities where the people need jobs, they need economic growth opportunities. So let's just say they set up shop and they were given 10 years not to pay taxes. Well, we're coming up on year 11. It's time for them to start paying taxes. And they're trying to figure out how to not do that. So some of these places are shutting down. They're doing all of this kind of crazy stuff. They've done this over and over and over again over the years. So now here we are in 2025. There's no more room left to do that, which is why someone like Musk and Trump are getting into office, and they want to shut down the government, because what the government is to the society, especially for the individual citizens, the government is like the traffic officer or the police force. I'll put it like that. So that if anything goes down, where because I'm trying not to be too complex and go off on too long of a tangent. You can go into the grocery store and you can trust that the milk and the eggs and the butter that you take off the shelf, the cheese, or the meat, when you go home, hopefully it won't poison you. And if you just so happen to be unfortunate and you have something that has issues, that it's going to be recalled. You'll be notified about it. There's a protective organization around that. That's what the government does. And it's supposed to be in the background working quietly. We're not supposed to have to wonder about every little single thing every single time. If you have children, you can trust that if you buy their clothes, that they're going to be fireproof. And, there are agencies that oversee that. So what the businesses like what Elon has going on, what they want to do is get that out of the way, because this government is what holds them accountable so that they don't hurt people. And he wants to get that out of the way so he can do whatever the heck he wants to do, even when people get hurt in the process. So that's what's going on with them. They know exactly what they're doing. It's not like, but what's happening is that when they try to implement something like firing federal workers, because that's what you mentioned earlier, and, putting their life in disarray, what they failed to realize is that if they're not working on the job, then they have all day long to protest against you.
Facts. Facts. Facts.
So they in thinking that okay, let's get rid of them. Well, yeah, you can get rid of them off of their job, okay. But now you got somebody that got all day, and we're in spring. It's about to be summer soon.
Yeah. Yeah. So wait, you said that they know what they're doing. So do you think he's seen this coming? Do you think he took this into account?
They know exactly what they're doing. Yes.
So you think he expected this blowback and this backlash then?
Well, I don't think, as far as people burning up the Teslas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Like,
No,
okay.
because you're dealing with narcissistic people, and narcissistic people tend to, they think they're the smartest person in the room all the time. That's why they can come out and try to tell you how to think about stuff. Like when some bull crap just went down, you smell the bull crap, you've seen the turd, and they're sitting up here telling you, that's not bull crap, that's not a turd. What that is, that's just, they'll come up with some other like smoke screen or excuse. Now, if you're an underdeveloped person, you may buy into it. But if you're a fully developed person with your own mind, you're like, man, that's bull crap. I don't care how you dress it up. It stinks. I know what I'm looking at. So yeah, they know. I don't think they expected for us to respond the way that we did. And also, this is the reason why they don't want people to be educated. If you pay close attention to what is happening with Elon, he's being hit in the pockets. As a matter of fact, this is my opinion. Feel free to think otherwise. I think that some of the people who are doing like the damaging of the Tesla, some of them, I think some of them are like from the Leaving MAGA crowd, to be honest with you. Because I think in Las Vegas, they said bullets were fired and Molotov cocktails. That sounds kind of like, kind of like a white hoodish type activity.
Okay.
I'm not saying that anybody on the left is above it. Huh?
I get what you're...
Yeah. The ones with the sheets, them.
Yeah.
That sounds like something they might do, because something that we might do, okay, we'll hit you in the pockets. We'll refund it. I think one person owned a Tesla. They donated to NPR, Or for those that can't afford to like dump their Tesla, they put a sticker on it. I bought this before Elon went crazy.
Yeah.
But the crashing and burning and all that other kind of stuff. And here's why I say that, because I did work a little bit in insurance. I know that they have insurance policies on these cars. Car dealerships do. If something were to happen, like a storm came through, like a hurricane or something like that, a tornado or whatever, hailstorm, and it damages the cars before the dealer was able to sell it, the dealer has a way to get back the losses. So they have insurance on those cars. Part of me, now this is just me in my little ENTJ mode, thinks that maybe some of the Jan 6ers or some people that have those sentiments are actually setting the fires so that, because they can't sell the car anymore, don't nobody want to buy it. So a way to cut the losses is to just file claims. Make the insurance company take the loss.
Let me show a couple more pictures and then some stuff on the internet. Give me a second.
So the MAGA base is rebelling against them right now.
You got some people that are leaving MAGA, yeah, because the consequences are hitting them, which I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it.
I didn't think that was possible. Everyone I know who's MAGA is extremely loyal, and they can do nothing wrong. Everything is Trump, 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 Elon. So to me, I didn't think that was even possible, to be honest with you.
No, you go on to the TikTok, you'll find plenty of people that are leaving MAGA. One guy in particular, he was a federal worker who was, like you said, a diehard until he got fired. And then at that point, he was mad because, they actually have these people convinced that all it takes is a skin color and a reproductive organ type. And that is enough to, dominate in every way. Now, how crazy would I appear as a Black woman to go into any space? Let's just say, I don't know civil engineering. I don't know how to build a bridge or anything like that. But I go to a construction site and I say that because of my skin color and my reproductive organs, I'm better at constructing things than all of you. It's crazy. But they have brainwashed these people into believing that their skin color and their reproductive organ is enough for them to dominate. And it's not working for them. So when the veil is lifted, when the smoke and the reality is seen by them, then they get upset with MAGA, and then they want to run over here. Now, for some of them, I do understand there was brainwashing at play, but for a lot of them, no. I think that they need to sit in their consequences, and they need to figure out how to be better people and actually do the work in order to be better from now on. It's kind of like, why do you got to run to my house now that you done figured out your life? You can go, like I've gone through the process of figuring out how to get my own place and having my own everything. Well, they need to go through that process too. They can't just come and run over here to us now that I picked wrong. Yeah, you did. And we tried to tell you. So they got to go through it step by step. That's the only way for the rest of them. Some of them are brainwashed, but a lot of them, no. A lot of them are like, they're getting hit with the consequences. What they wanted to happen to us is now happening to them. They don't like how it feels, and they're just looking for someone to relieve the pain, as opposed to growing through those pains and becoming better people.
Yeah, beautifully said. Wisdom, I know you already spoke about the DR. Obi, I think he might have missed you saying that, speaking about that. Can you speak about that again? And he's asking specifically, what's the pass pro effect in the DR? I think you said they're making it look worse than what it is. But could you go further than that? Let's come back to this.
Well, yeah, I just didn't really elaborate that much because I respected what you said. You said you guys are trying to
Oh no,
this
no, go
channel
ahead.
is
No,
trying
no,
to pivot away from the whole passport bro thing.
oh no, no. When we get content, we spill the tea on these guys. We love it.
Well, okay. See, that's the thing. I guess the most surface level thing is the whole putting content on YouTube where they're indulging in prostitution, and it kind of makes it look like every woman and their mother is selling their body in the Dominican Republic. So, like I said, I was born and raised here, but I have property in Dominican Republic. My parents are from Dominican Republic. I went to school there at a certain point, and I lived out there. So there's a certain way that passport bros, quote unquote, carry it that just puts a bad light on Dominican Republic when it's really just in certain areas. Like, for example, Sosua is like a certain town in Dominican Republic where most of the, I don't know if I could say that word, but like women selling their body where that happens. That happens mainly in like Sosua. You might have like one or two towns more where that might happen, but it's really concentrated in one area. But if you watch these videos, which have millions of views, it will make it seem to someone that probably never has traveled there, like this is happening throughout the whole country. And it just puts a black eye and a bad name on the Dominican Republic in general. And it's just, in my opinion, that has existed since the beginning of time, meaning that, women have been indulging in that or participating in that kind of world or profession or whatever you want to call it since the beginning of time. So no one could get rid of it. But I'm just saying that at least if you're going to be doing your thing, at least don't promote it and put it on social media and put it on YouTube, because it just doesn't look good. That's all I'm trying to say. Like I would have to, in order to like further elaborate and answer his question better, OB32, you would probably have to come back to me and I could think of more reasons, but the main one and probably the most surface level one is that one right there, in my opinion, for me personally.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd also love to know, like, do the women in those areas, do they want to do that work, or is it just something they're doing because it's an opportunity? Because sometimes it's sold as like, hey, these women, they just view sex differently. Sorry, I'm calling you out, Richard, but I don't know if these women enjoy that. I don't even know if these communities enjoy that. I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's what you just said. It's like it's the circumstances. It's like the fastest, easiest way of making money, and especially the American dollar, which goes a further way in these countries, and specifically in the Dominican Republic. So that's why mainly. But yeah, for the most part, I don't think that you might have some, like a small percentage of women that want to do that, but it's very, very small percentage. It's just that's the easiest way for them to make it, because these women, man, they do that. And I personally have met some that have actually taken their family and their kids out of certain circumstances because of that, because they're making a good living off of this stuff. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, but I don't think I'll put it this way: society as a whole in the Dominican Republic, they look down on that. If they know that you're involved in that lifestyle, they're more than likely going to look down on you. So it's not like something that's acceptable. If that's what people think, they're mistaken. It's not something that is accepted.
I just got a comment from True Poetic. This is I want your take on this too, Wisdom. What do the men feel like about the culture? Or are they trying to do anything to change it?
Yeah, I mean, that's honest. I'm gonna be honest with you. That's a problem that I have with a lot of Dominicans, is that to be honest with you, they contribute to the problem probably more than they try to fight against it. Like a lot of Dominican dudes that I met, I've been there personally. And if any Dominican guy is listening, I'm sorry, you might be mad at what I'm about to say, but I'm just being honest. Like a lot of you guys are be the first ones to promote it. I've been in situations where you guys are the first ones to be like, oh yeah, you could go over there and buy a chick for $10 or whatever the case is. You don't want to say that to people because you're providing them, you're giving them even more of a reason to go over there and indulge in that. So me as a Dominican that is invested there, that has lived there, family is from there, I don't promote that. I could honestly and say with all pride that I've been going to DR since I was a kid. I've lived there. I've been going damn near every year, and I've never participated in that kind of in that. So a lot of Dominicans, to answer that question, aren't really doing a lot to fight back when it comes to that. Like my sentiment might even be, I don't know if it's popular because a lot of Dominican guys that I spoke to, a lot of them don't even care. Honestly, they don't care because they might have a cousin, they might know someone who's actually living well because so that's all they're looking at. They're looking at the fact that they were able to change these women were able to change their lifestyle and their family members' lifestyles. And they're not looking at the actual, what got them there.
Okay, interesting.
Women are the same worldwide. When I was a girl, I didn't grow up thinking, oh, when I grow up, I want to dance and twerk for a bunch of weird looking men who smell and don't bathe just so that I can get $1 or $2 out of them. There's desperation that drove them to that point.
Right. But unfortunately, there's, in my opinion, I feel like there's an unfair, it's kind of unfair that is being put, like an unfair microscope and analysis being put on Dominican Republic specifically, where it's made, they make it seem like it's, like I said, everyone and their mother is selling their body out there when that's not the case. And that's the problem I'm having. I've been on panels before where probably this subject is brought up, and people will actually use it as a way to, like, basically, if they know that I'm Dominican, they'll use it as a way to get at me, or, oh, that's why all the women in your, that's probably your grandma probably selling the box out there. You know what I mean? Like they'll use it as a way to pretty much put me down, put a Dominican person down, because they look at it like, okay, that's all you guys do out there. That's, you know what I mean? So
Well, they do more to reveal who they are than they are to insult you. And here's why I say that. Because rather, like you said, they're contributing to the problem. They're going and exploiting and taking advantage instead of going someplace and helping to resolve the problem and doing far better as a result of it. It's very easy to pull down. It's hard to pull up.
I love that.
Yeah, but I don't know if I answered my man OB32's question, but like I said, it's mainly surface level. Like I could get into actual, like probably more things, more ways that it has impacted Dominicans or the Dominican Republic in general, but that's like the main thing.
I guess maybe my question would be, outside those red light districts, do the men kind of protect the image of women in the DR, or is it not to this, not the same reputation of what the women are, the chapeadores might be, but are they allowing DR women to be disrespected outside of these red light districts?
That's the thing. Like most passport bros, they like, for the most part, they're in Sosua. They're in like those red light districts. They really don't go outside of it.
I'm saying the local DR men, do they kind of, what is the reputation that they kind of present, protect, or do they protect the image of the DR women outside of the red light districts?
Not really, bro. You know what? I can't sit here and and act like they're championing and protecting and doing what they got to do when it comes to the women. I feel like that's, like I said, that's a huge part of the problem, is that they're not, if anything, they're looking at the Dominican women as objects, just like the passport bros, a lot of them. And a lot of them, like I said, I know a lot of Dominicans that indulge, that are passport bros. They're just Dominican, so they feel like it's okay. But they're pretty much probably indulging in more prostitution than anybody else. Oh, sorry if I use that word, but
no, that's fine.
But yeah, to put it simply, in my opinion, the men are probably, let's put passport bros to the side. The Dominican men are probably the number one problem, is because they indulge in it, number one, and then number two, they promote it to other outsiders or amongst themselves, and that's a problem.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. Okay. So going back to Tesla a little bit. Let's see. I'm trying to show their stock price real quick. So it's dropped a lot. It's taken a huge hit. Let me see what else. I think there's something else I wanted to show. I'm trying to figure out what else. But there's just been a ton of memes. Another thing that I saw, let me make sure I get a nice little funny video. And then I'm going to show some other stuff. Just give me a second. So let me share the screen one more time. Stock price. Where is that? So let me just change it to this. Showing how much Tesla has lost. There's another thing I wanted to show. Just a little funny stuff. Let me see. Hold on. Where's the stock price? Oh. I want to show this too. This is super funny. It's from the movie Split. But that's enough of the Tesla jokes. It's just highlighting how these dudes are coming to bat for Elon Musk, or just billionaires in general, but they're thousandaires at best and stuff like that. But going back to the topic, Tesla's taking a beating. Elon Musk is kind of frantically trying to do stuff at the White House to kind of, with Trump, to highlight Tesla. Oh, you said, let's see, hold on. Yeah, so I was showing Tesla, I was showing this little video from Split, where Split was this guy playing all these Split personalities, and it was kind of like a joke about Tesla, saying how people are going to bat for Tesla, or just billionaires in general, and they're just and this one Split personality, this guy, he was called the Beast, and he was just flying across to go attack this guy, kind of like an animal. It was just a little funny little clip. But I think that's all the Tesla content I think I had to show. I'm trying to think if there's another topic, but I think we might have talked Tesla into the ground. What else do y'all want to talk about?
Well, something just came to mind briefly when it was asked how our society should be, and I was like, it's kind of late. I've had a long day and I couldn't think of it, but it just came back to me. We should be more of a cooperative society, and here's why. We're designed to be more cooperative. The more cooperative we are, the better off the society is. I think Switzerland ranks number 1 on the United Nations Human Development Index, or the UNHDI, that I spoke about earlier, where it ranks the nations from 1 to 191. And whoever's doing best is number 1. Whoever needs a lot of work is at the bottom. In Switzerland, because they're number 1, that means that the majority of people that you run into are educated. The majority of people that you run into have their own bank accounts, probably have their own cell phones. That's not true when you go to some places that are closer to the bottom of the list. You'll find situations where a family may have just one cell phone and they each got to share. Or like in some parts of the world, the family may get the son a cell phone, but even if they have an older daughter, they value the son more, so he gets the cell phone. Meanwhile, the daughters have to wait on the son to give permission, their brother to give him permission to use his phone, that kind of thing. So what's going on in Switzerland, just to give you a prime example, they are able to work together because people don't have to worry about housing so much. They don't have to worry about their health care. They don't have to worry about starving or anything like that. So they have the time and the ability to work together. They have a man that was paralyzed. I think he was paralyzed for 12 years due to a spinal cord injury. He's walking again now. Because you have a society filled with people that have the ideas and have the capacity to bring their ideas into fruition. Now, when you look at a place like Texas, where Governor Greg Abbott, who's in a wheelchair, he is continuing to be in a wheelchair as opposed to walking around, because the reason why he's in a wheelchair is due to a spinal cord injury as well. So instead of creating a society where everyone has an opportunity, they want to take away. That's what patriarchy does. And when patriarchy is at play, that is the consequence. Things that are happening in Switzerland, getting paralyzed men to walk again, is not going to happen in Texas, because it means more to them to read something out of a book that was written by, well, I won't go there as far as the history on that, but a book that was written hundreds of years ago. A verse from that book means more to them than giving people the opportunity to advance and advance the society as a result. So that's what I had to say. It was a cooperative society.
Okay. I think Richard's asking the panel this question. He wants us to explain why men from other countries don't come to the United States for sex tourism. Does anyone want to answer that? I think OB kind of answered it in the chat, the price, but feel free to answer it, everyone else.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to that. Like the dollar just goes further, and either, I don't know if this is even a thing anymore, but like third world countries or developing countries, the dollar just goes further. So they're able to get more, I guess, for lack of a better term, like more bang for their buck. You know, no pun intended, but yeah, go ahead though.
They do. There are men who come here from other countries so that they can play Vegas. You know, you may have people that are coming from like super conservative societies like Saudi Arabia, but see, they have a lot of gold. So, you know, their laws are restrictive over in their country, but when they come here, nobody cares what you do. Nobody cares who is, what Sharia is going to come after you over here. So yes, they do, you know, do their thing when they get to places like Vegas, when they get to Miami and other places as well. They do, but they're not out in the streets talking about, well, you know, it's cheaper over here, and they just do what they do. And that's my thing. For the people that do what they do, I don't have to agree with what a person does. We're all adults. I choose to be a bit on the modest. Some may argue conservative. Well, let me not use that term because that has too much associated with it. I'm more on the modest side of things. I'm cool. It's me and my husband. We're at home. Cool. Okay. But some people want to be out in the world. That's their business. That's their life. I'm not here judging. But the thing is, just go ahead and just do what you do. The problem that I had, particularly with the Passport Bros, is that they just didn't want to do what they do without dragging my reputation into it. So if they just did what they did, who cares? Particularly white men, white American men, and white European men have been doing it for ages. They just go and do what they do, and I don't too much care for it, but it's their life.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. What you just said about the white man. Even when I was a kid, when I used to go to Sosua or Puerto Plata, I would see the older white guys with the younger women and all. I would see that forever, but it just became like a thing when, like, I guess a Black American started really doing it and putting it online and putting it on YouTube and all that. That's when it really became like a popular thing. And like I said, I'm not trying to blame one group of people. I'm just saying that according to the pattern that I'm seeing, it's mainly, I don't know if they might come from like a Caribbean background, but I don't know.
What I would like to see is, because I see a scheme at play. I was thinking about this. Like when they go over to places, they go and they get more than likely they're going to go and get an Airbnb, but then they want these women to be cooking and cleaning for them. And also basically doing, intimate activity on top of that. And I sat down, I thought about it because, like I said, I tend to look at the numbers and I'm like, wait a minute. So basically, you're getting these women to act like hotel staff that sleep with you at your Airbnb instead of getting a hotel. I've traveled a lot too. I've kind of slowed down a bit, but I've done my fair share of traveling. And I've stayed in hotels. And I'm not knocking them for wanting to get an Airbnb. That's not the issue. The issue is that they've made the claim that I, as a woman, I'm just so horrible as a Black woman that they had to go overseas and find themselves a, quote, real woman who will cook and clean. But it's like, no, you couldn't afford the hotel when you got over there, where they have paid staff that will clean up the place for you, and where you have to pay for your food and tip people. So you are basically trying to afford your vacation by exploiting a woman's labor.
Yeah, I agree, Angie. There's a lot to be said about it, and I think, just kind of like go back to the point. It's like, I think we've all said, like, hey, if they want to go over there and do that, if they actually wanted to go over there and if they wanted to go over there and actually find a wife, why do they gotta like drag everybody into it? I mean, we didn't care about their romance, their love life, but they want to make sure that everyone cares that Angie and TJ, True Poetic Zed, they were a factor in their life, a negative factor in their love life, and they have to go over to another country. And all the other women were as well, that they had to go over to another country. It's just like, it's attention seeking, and just the manosphere of Red Pill in general. It's like everything they do is it's centered on women. All the problems in society centered on women.
So what do you think Trump was trying to gain by supporting Andrew Tate? Like, what was the gain from it? Only thing I know about Andrew Tate is like he was running in a country for abuse of women or rape or something of that nature, and I know Trump has kind of that comparison. So, like, what was the
Wait,
kind of the purpose of them getting together?
The useful
did he actually
idiots.
did he actually support him? I didn't see this. He actually supported Andrew
Yeah,
Tate?
like it was national news. Andrew Tate flying into Florida to Trump's hotel to meet with him, and he got Andrew Tate his passport back in his country.
Because I
And the way
know
the news people are, go ahead.
Ron DeSantis and I think Byron Donalds, I think they rejected Andrew Tate, and they made like a public speech about how they don't support someone like him, and he's not welcome in Florida. They made a public speech about it. So I didn't know that Trump was actually backing him, because I know Byron Donalds and Ron DeSantis were actually against him.
Now, is this someone that Trump kind of let them into his gang, so to say? Could this be political backlash because they didn't get whatever they wanted out of supporting him? Because Byron Donaldson, isn't that the black guy who supported him?
Right. Yeah. And then and
I know
Ron
it's actually
DeSantis and Ron DeSantis and Trump, I know they don't like each other, according from what I've heard. They're like yeah, they don't like each other, or Ron DeSantis doesn't support him or whatever. I know they got some kind of political beef going on.
So let me ask y'all, with everything going on with like the Diddy case, all the way, I think back to like Kobe Bryant and his situation, and I asked this in the chat already. Do you feel like that maybe there does need to be someone like in, a political position to try to pass a law to protect men? Just because, I mean, we are living at a time now where just all it takes is an allegation if you're, a multimillionaire. Like Diddy's in jail right now. We've seen the video, but what he should have been in jail for is not even what he's in jail for. He's in jail for allegations right now.
Then what do you think he should be in jail for?
Well, I mean, the thing, if they were going to put him in jail, would have been actual tape of him beating up Cassie, but he paid her off, so he didn't go to jail for that. So now what he's in jail for is just allegations.
The tape is there. I have it in one of the videos on my channel. There is a video footage out there of him beating up Cassie.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, but he's not in jail for that. He's in jail for allegations of people who we haven't gotten the opportunity to see yet.
Okay.
Or see a tape in. He's just locked up. Or I think about Kobe,
LB, you cut out.
Well, as far as I can answer from the Andrew Tate side of it, from my perspective, my observations based on the trends, Andrew Tate has a bunch of useful idiots. And again, useful idiots is not what I'm saying about them. That's not my opinion, but that's how they are looking at the group of people that are following them. So he's influencing a lot of them. And I think that it was a strategic move by number 47 to bring him over so that he can help to maintain the influence.
So you don't think it has anything to do with his personal case? It was just all about voters? Because I did see that in the chat as well.
I think that played a part too. Absolutely. But I also think that he saw an opportunity there. So both, it's both.
Okay. What do you think, Chris? If you don't mind me asking, or if you're willing to share.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think that people like Joe Rogan, people like Andrew Tate, they were kind of like silently campaigning for Trump. It wasn't until like the week of the election and, or the weeks before, and Andrew Tate was like running like daily streams of like, go vote for Trump, go vote for, he is a Trump supporter. He was, he and Fresh and Fit and all these other people, they were instrumental in trying to swing people and kind of, as True Poetic said, get the young voters to vote conservative. As for why he's linking up in Florida, I don't know. I don't know about that.
Okay.
Yeah, he had a whole live with Candace Owens, like explaining all of this, like explaining his frustration with Ron DeSantis and how he thought that when he came to the U.S., he was going to be greeted with open arms because Trump is president now. And then he didn't expect Ron DeSantis to not welcome him to Florida, and Byron Donalds, same thing. But yeah, there's a live right now on Candace Owens. I don't know if you guys watch her or whatever the case is, but
she's
it's on there though.
too. Because I'm a woman, and I'm not so concerned about what other women are doing in their private lives with their private time with their bodies. But she and a group of other women are. They're suspects in they may be in the closet, is what I'm trying to say. Nothing wrong with being a part of the community. Everything wrong with manipulating.
Oh, you think she
Yes, I've seen some of her past pictures.
Oh, okay, that's a first. That's interesting.
Because I'm saying you're a gentleman, and I don't know, you strike me as somebody that ain't into guys. I'll put it like that. You into women, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
You exactly. Are you so obsessed with what another dude is doing with his junk? No, you you do you.
Not at all.
So,
you're right.
it's the same thing with the women. Why is she so obsessed with what a woman is doing in her own free spare time? No, it's something ain't right with that.
True.
Who are you talking about, Angie?
Candace Owens. I know she's married. I know she got kids. Blah blah. She's playing the part.
Okay.
But I think she's a suspect.
In terms of what?
Being in the closet.
Oh, okay.
I'll be on the other side of things. For those who don't know, I go down deep in the dirty in the gutter, and I see trends, because what I have found with these people, from PP Bros to Red Pill to everything else, they put up a front over here. When I say over here, I'm talking about, in the PG or G-rated spaces, they'll put up the smoke screen about how everything should be. But when you go into the spaces that have, X's and triple X's, PORN, okay. When you go into those spaces and you look at the comments that they leave on the videos, they show their true selves. And shout out to whoever it was. Who was that deputy lieutenant from North Carolina who they found that he was over there talking about he's a black Nazi, and that.
Oh man, yeah. I forgot the guy's name. Yeah.
They show their true colors over there. So that's why I go over there and I be calling them out. That's why I say some of the stuff that I say. And again, ain't nothing wrong with people being a part of the rainbow. And at Lisa Moore, yes, to answer your question, you look at her earlier pictures, and then look at her now.
That reminds me also. I mentioned Kevin Samuels, but Myron from Fresh and Fit is another one to me. That's like, he might be a little suspect too, man.
J.K. Perkins, I don't have a problem with people being who they are. This isn't about me saying, ooh, they're gay. Oh, it's bad. No, there's nothing wrong with being, a part of the rainbow community. That's not at all why I'm saying what I'm saying. I'm saying what I'm saying because if it has feathers and it quacks, then what is it? People are not that. People who are like sexually frustrated, that frustration got to come out in a different way. So when you have somebody that's openly rainbow, or, when it comes time for them to be honest with whoever they're being intimate with, that person knows who they are, that frustration is not there for them. So they're not so obsessed with what other people are doing with their with their private areas and their private lives. But these people are, and that's what I'm speaking to.
Yeah, and then you gotta question their intention, and especially with depending on the kind of content, you lose credibility if you're of a certain group or sexuality and you don't come out and just embrace it. Like you lose a lot of credibility, especially depending on your content. And a lot of these people, what they push out there, a lot of them are in the red pill circles, and so I get what you're saying though.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like for me, I'm just like, dude, or dependent lady, just come on out and live.
Right.
We're in 2025. I've been an ally for a long time. I've had to fight people, well, not physically fight, but stand up in support of people who are a part of that community who were being bullied. We did all this work. It's okay for you to come out instead of doing what they're doing, manipulating and putting up smoke screens, and just because they want to remain hidden.
Right.
Just come on out. And to Ozzy, let's just say there are quite a few who straddle the fence. I'll put it like that, based on their behavior.
And you remember when they had like the was it the RNC or the Republican convention?
Yes.
And the
Yep.
corn,
the grinder blackout.
Yeah, they had like a bunch of like the corn sites went ballistic.
Yup.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So this isn't me trying to say ew, ew. I'm saying, look, we already know. Let's just chill.
This is when they were running, when it was Kamala on the road, and then Trump and his cabinet were, they were doing their thing. They had the Republican convention, the RNC. I forgot where they had it at, but it was like a bunch of certain sites and certain things skyrocketed. Yeah. So and come to find out, basically they indulged in things that they are against. I'm just going to put it that way. And it came out to the forefront, and there was statistics and certain things that back that up, because when they were in town, these certain things skyrocketed, which are certain lifestyles and things that and sites and stuff like that they speak against.
They speak against. They make laws against.
Yeah, you never heard about that? Yeah. They were making memes and all kinds of stuff about the hypocrisy within their group, because because they say one thing, but then their lifestyle and what their interest says another thing.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
And when they legislated against trans people, the trans women came out and the trans women said that they are familiar with the guys that have the big trucks, the ones that put on the big front about that they be with them.
I guess my last question for y'all really quick, and then I'm gonna step down and let Hampton step up for a little bit. What is it about people like Bruce Jenner? Why does he support them if they take so many things away as far as the rights go? Can anyone make that make sense to me?
You don't bite the hand that feeds you. They may take it away for the average everyday person, but somebody is paying for it.
Good point. Yeah.
Okay. All right, hey Reek, I appreciate you sharing your point of views on just how you feel like Passport Bros has changed the Dominican.
Yeah, no doubt, bro, no doubt.
Yeah, I was listening. I appreciate
like
it.
I said, there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's like the main thing and the main beef I got with it.
Okay. Well, I don't think everyone looks at it that way. I imagine, if I actually stayed there, I would probably feel like you feel about it. But on the outside looking in, I don't think that's how everyone looks at the country, to be honest.
I'm just saying it's been used against me. Like once people know that I'm Dominican, I've had guys. I went up to certain panels and they're quick to bring that up. Like, yo, that's why your grandma probably out there selling selling the
Gotcha.
box and all that. You know what I'm saying? So to me, it's like, damn. Okay, so it's actually having an actual impact because these people are using it as a way to get at me because they found out that I'm Dominican.
Right.
So
Yeah, I think it's just the price, the accessibility of it. Kind
right,
of like I was saying in the chat, everywhere I went in Europe, I didn't kind of realize this until like last year, but everywhere in Europe has a red light district. We only hear about Amsterdam. That's the mainstream one, but there isn't a country I've been to in Europe that doesn't have a red light district, but no one talks about those places. So the only thing I can assume is that their prices are pretty similar to American prices. So therefore, men don't run to those countries just because, they might only be able to have fun for one night versus you go to a couple of these other places, maybe you can have fun with the ladies for 2-3 nights.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Anything else that y'all want to talk about?
No, unless somebody got some tea, man. Last time y'all let me know BMT had a busted lip from a 20-year-old on them Passport Bro streets. I was trying to get it. I ain't got Gen X here to update me like he normally do. So I don't know what's going on, man. I don't know if the movement's dying, if it's growing, if it's staying alive. Reek, do you watch any? What Passport Bros do you watch?
Okay, so I know about Austin Holloman. I know about the guy that he's usually with, dark skinned, short guy, squeaky voice. I forgot his name, but
King
he's usually
Greatness?
with. Nah, he's usually with him with Austin. Short, dark skinned guy.
Yeah, I haven't watched him in a minute. I ain't watched him probably in like, I don't know, at least damn near half a year. So when I was watching him, it was just the last time I actually looked at some of his content was when he was in Europe walking around and he was telling everybody this is too expensive to be here. I haven't watched anything since then.
And there's another guy who actually was in DR. He's from Gary, Indiana. I forgot his name, but he was actually
Jay Rello.
Yeah, there you go. That's the dude's name. And
What are
he
you
was
doing
like,
now? Is he still like posting videos and going live with
well, from what I heard, from what I heard, he was stranded in DR or something in Sosua, and he was like, he did a live where he was begging for money so he could buy a flight and come back home or something. So that's the last I heard of him. That's the last I seen of this guy. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that was like 6 months ago. So I guess he ain't been doing much either. What about like Skylar? Has anyone watched any of his content lately? Chris, you watched any of it?
Nah, I haven't really been watching Passport Bros at all.
So wait, these guys got like
business to watch some of this tomorrow.
They got like a reality show. Like what the hell is going on?
I will say to J.K. Perkins' point, whenever I do see like an Austin Hallman's video, I see Kid Greatness.
I think his name is like Floyd or Lloyd or something.
Yeah.
Oh, Floyd. So he's back.
Yeah. That's what I'm referring to.
Okay. Is the content any good? I ain't saying you got to support it, but is it interesting?
Listen. I'm not a hater, man. Like it's interesting. It's entertaining. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you.
What is he doing? Because see, when I watched it, it was just a begathon. He never had any content.
Well,
it was just always, can someone help me get a ticket or something?
I think the guy Austin is pretty entertaining, and I think it gets interesting when he starts going into like the racial dynamic. He feels like certain Latin countries have a preference towards white guys and not really black males, so he feels kind of like an outcast or like, yo, this country ain't for me because these women. They praise the white guys and I don't get no kind of play. So I find that to be kind of interesting and entertaining. Like,
I'm gonna check him out then if he actually put some content. Like I said, we used to watch these guys so much we all got sick of it. We were like, we got to change the topic. Like this is getting old. But I think all of us kind of quit watching it. So now I'm just kind of I'm wanting to know what's going on. So I might just sit back tomorrow and just kind of on an off day watch about an hour or two of it, see what these guys are up to, see what's changed.
Okay, yeah.
I see American Talk say Jay Rello got in the kingdom. I don't know. Does that mean he was in Europe? Does that mean he's what is he referring to? And then I seen someone saying Kid Greatness has kind of become Austin's become the sidekick. I could kind of look at the numbers and see that. Like it looked like Kid Greatness doing more numbers than Austin now.
Kid Greatness. I got. Is he more of a like an African passport bro, or like where does he usually?
I don't even think he was a passport bro. He was more so just traveling, but he just kind of went over to Austin just because Austin was getting views, and then they just
You
kind
know
of
what?
ended
I think
up
I
in the
might.
same place.
I think I might know who you're talking about. Like a skinny guy, big ass teeth,
Yeah,
braids.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah. I know. Yeah. Okay, I know who that is.
Oh, okay. American Talk. I didn't know he'd been in Thailand too. Yeah, I gotta see that. I gotta find that. What's up, Chris? They ain't interested to you no more?
Nah, I mean, like I said, I swore off of that. Like I said, Jay Rello, no. Like I said, I moved on. Like I'll tap in when you all have like little funny stories, like when you told when you had that story about that one Pastor Bro fighting over the getting lifted off the air. That was funny as hell. Like I love to see. I'm here for the crash outs, but I don't want to watch them like they.
I dig it. Hey, American Talk, hop up on here really quick and tell us what it is. It don't seem like we're gonna be up on here too much longer, but you say you got the scoop. I want to know what that is. Like I say, last scoop I heard y'all had pictures of a dude with a fat lip who used to come on here trying to date Zed every day. So yeah, I need to hear that. What done happened to him over there? Every time I hear Thailand, somebody getting into a fight. So yeah. What about Ronan? He still ain't traveled. Has he went to the Philippines and got that wife yet?
I don't know, and I hope he didn't. Ronan, don't do it.
All right, yeah, I'm gonna have to go check out what's that young boy's name? Dang, I can't even think of it. I ain't watched it in so long. The kid that I was looking at last time, who was telling the truth on him, saying that the dating pool wasn't better in Colombia. The Andrew Show. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go check that out. See if old Ronan that picked up his Filipino wife yet.
Okay.
All right, y'all. Well, I'm out of here. American Talk, if you gonna come up, let us know. I want that scoop. I want to know what happened to him in Thailand. All right, everybody.
All right, salute.
All right, holla.
Take care.
Let's see. I don't know what else to talk about. Richard joined the panel. I got videos to show, but I think I'm gonna save them for another time. It's getting late.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me up, man. Nice meeting you guys virtually, like I said. And yeah, I'm looking forward to. I'm gonna keep checking you guys out, though.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, same.
Thanks for joining the panel.
All right, guys.
Yeah, take care. Let me see what I was gonna say. Angie, what's new on your content?
I was working on some stuff. I've had to take a moment because I've been kind of busy lately. But basically, it was centered around leaving MAGA and showing that, okay, there are people who are coming up and saying that we should be more understanding, we should be more empathetic. There are people who didn't know any better as they're leaving MAGA. And to that, I'm saying, whoa, wait a minute. No, that's codependency that they're showing. Codependent people or enablers in a relationship, they're the ones that make excuses for people and their bad behavior. and therefore enabling them. So what the next video was focused on, like, no, don't enable them. They need to hit rock bottom. For those who, you got to think there's something up when a person weaponizes their behavior to harm another person. And that's what they did with their voting habits. So now that they are suffering what they voted for to happen to others, of course they're going to cry out. Of course they're going to say, ow, it hurts. But these people did this from an angle of superiority. And so the only way to awaken them from that, or to force them to grow from that, is to watch them go through it and stay hands off. Let them figure it out. So, but some people don't realize that they are enabling and that they're behaving in a codependent way. And so that's why I wanted to point out. So that's, eventually I'll put the video up, but that's what it's basically all about.
Okay. Fair
So,
enough.
it looks like everybody is signing out.
Yeah, I know. Like, let's probably call it as well.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the panel again.
Thanks for having me.
All right, y'all have a great night. Have the great rest of the week.
You too. Take care.
All right, take care.